Solokot's going to use that Al drone early on. Nope, never mind. Changes his tune as the team starts moving in short. It's him and Scream. A two-man duo. Problem is, there's 3 players for the defense currently on A. You've got the Breach, the Brim, and the Raze all here. So you've got Angel and you've got SSK back behind default boxes, backing up the Raze who's trapped in the corner. That means there's a heavy weakness somewhere else. B and C with 1 defender each. The Sage playing solo on C using the Cypher Cam and hardware as backup. Unfortunately for fish123, they are wandering right into this trap. You can see the 3-man hold, and it's not slowing them down. They don't know that this is here. So a multitude of players currently grouped up on short, about to make their way onto this A site. Molly does come down from backside site, and now they're starting to work their way out. There's the flash to go in. The Al drone as well. Double flash coming out as Scream starts to open up the site. The flash blinding him in the corner. Shao can't do much. It's up to SSK on the site with just a frenzy, and it's all falling apart. It's Artist who is across the map. The super late take coming out from fish123 results in success. PartyParrots scrambled to try to play defense despite the strength on the site. It just did not work out for them at all. There is low HP for Scream here, so maybe there's a kill coming through, but Cryptic spams away through his cyber cage. Artist can't escape. 9 rounds on the board for fish123.
Again, I'd love to see how the scoreboard looked at the beginning of that round, because it did look like some of the PartyParrots decided not to really buy up, and really this will be the round that I think they'll have the credits to spend, and they'll really be able to take it toe-to-toe with fish123. But of course, there is a little bit of a scoreboard bug. Bach and I are used to sounding like a broken record due to some of the observer bugs in the past, but Riot, of course, is aware of it. Next patch, going to be July 21st, likely will take care of the scoreboard bug, so very shortly we'll see some of those upgrades. Already a look towards A for fish123. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it's starting to be broken up here ever so slightly. Cryptics will be taken out by Angel by an early push in the sewers.
Shao sends the boombot over towards Long. Shao now stuck behind this box. The flash might come through. No, it's a breach charge. Scream is holding the angle, trying to punish.
Wow.
But Scream can't convert. So it's a kill going the way of Shao. Scream did pick off 1 before that, though, so there's at least that. It's a 4-on-3 advantage here for PartyParrots. Artist on the B site. Oh, he saw the barrel through the wall. Starts to spam. Takes out Solokot and brings it down to 2. Eccles and Link. And now just Link, the Sage, trying to come up mid. And it's a 1-on-4. Great defense coming out from PartyParrots.
And let's talk about the repercussions of this round, because it does look like Link, the last member standing, may not survive. And as I say, that Artist will take him out straight to the dome. But I think the next round to follow, fish123 won't really have the credits to stay competitive. They, of course, I think forced up there because I did see some assault rifles on their side. So likely going to be the pistols for them, but already this is a better look than NIP was able to produce on Haven against fish123. And Bach, if PartyParrots are able to sneak this one out, they're going to go to their comfort pick, Split, where they were able to take out G2, likely the favorites of the tournament. And so as these rounds really start to pile on for PartyParrots, I start to worry for fish123, because after this best of 3, if they don't come out on top, they're sent packing home.
Revealing area.
Kind of wild to think that one of these teams will not be competing in the playoffs. I mean, we talked about it before the match went live. Would have anticipated both of them would make it that far. Breach going to be opening up. Garage, the Al drone kind of led things in first. The slow orb wasn't enough to slow them down. Great paranoia on a backside site. Artist can't see much. Eccles is there to get the first. Traded out immediately as Angel is waking up. There's 2 that remain. It's Solokot and Scream trying to make their way out onto the site. SSK says, no, not welcome. Persona non grata. It will be an 8th round for PartyParrots. They are 1 away from tying things up.
Okay, so that was the round that fish123 were able to buy. It's starting to be a little difficult to keep track, but now it means, at least I think it means, that they will be on the pistol. So PartyParrots could very likely even things out here, and that is important for them, because you've closed the gap that fish123 were able to build on the defensive side, and now you're on the defensive side. You've got ultimates available. Your economy is starting to balloon. And it's all looking good here for PartyParrots. So for fish123, they really need to start being a little bit more careful and a little bit more strategical in their approaches on how they take these sites. So far, even that last round, they just funneled into Haven blindly, hoping to win on just pure gun duels. Yes, there were a couple of smokes for the execute, but it just did not work out.
Speaking of an execute, here comes the push on to B. The orbital strike gonna make things quite difficult. Angel just sews them into the corner. Scream's gonna pop that rolling thunder, but it does not help whatsoever. The ult somewhat wasted as the team completely fell apart. I think the plan was actually to use that wall to rush into the backside of A, but it doesn't come through. They just get crushed on the take. Really strong defense yet again from PartyParrots. To be fair, fish123 didn't have the greatest equipment. I mean, coming into that round, you're working with pistols. You're not really working with a whole lot. The attempt was to use the abilities they had built up to try to get into the site. So that's why that rolling thunder gets popped. But they still have 3 ults remaining. But on the opposite side, they've got 4. They've got the showstopper. They've got rolling thunder. They've got res. And then they've got the neural theft as well.
Okay. Scream with an early pick means good things for fish123. He's gonna find a second one. It was Artist that was peeking over the B box, and Solkis will follow up with a third. It is not looking good here for PartyParrots. Those entry kills, I'm not gonna say guarantee the round, but it's highly likely that they will be able to just freely walk onto whatever site they want. Eccles with an early look towards C, just wasting some of that utility early. Dinxjay cautiously walks forward, tries to see if anyone is nearby. I think it's the one way that's popped and doesn't see anyone on the opposite side. It is, of course, fish123 that are still lurking around the courtyard. Might be looking for a C push. Of course, it is Eccles' job now to gather the information to see if anyone's there. Looks around. Site looks like it's free to take, and it might be fish123 executing shortly on either C or B.
There you go. There's the heal coming out for Scream eventually. I was watching it happen early on. Solkas got the heal over Scream, and in my mind, I'm like, you know what? If I'm the Sage for this team, I feel like my heal is reserved for him as long as he's still alive. Just with the way he's been hitting some just ridiculously dirty shots. You saw it there, taking down the Sage on backside of B behind the big box, using the wall to boost over. It's a headshot angle. There's only one thing you can hit. It's good for Scream. That's the only thing he does hit. Comes down to 2, and naturally they're setting up for exits, just trying to find an angle to save these weapons. They do have the 2 ults, so maybe if they can find something, an opener, they'll actually push forward. And they're moving up a lot closer towards C than you might anticipate. And if they back off too far, is there a realm of possibility where a defuse can come through? You can see both players currently making it onto C. The spike is there. Can they actually stick this? There's a possibility they could go for this.
Oh no, no, wait, no. Oh,
not
okay,
enough time. They backed off.
They ran out of time. Yeah. Okay, that was,
I was like,
that was close.
Hold on. If they started running sooner, I think they were anticipating seeing someone. If they started running sooner, there's a very real possibility that they can start that defuse.
I need this.
But obviously with the spike as far as it was, once they got there, there wasn't much that could be done. So fish123, they see things go to a tie score, and they take the lead right back.
It was close. It was all about timing there at the end. And I like the attempt from PartyParrots, you know. Usually you'll just commit to the save of the weaponry, but they were feeling a little overzealous, trying to find something and convert it into really anything. And of course, if they were able to find a frag, it would mean, of course, the economy start to falter a little bit for fish123. But it's looking good so far. Weapons online, of course, once again for yet another round for the attack. An early pick onto Dinxjay, who was held up in the garage, and it might be the res to bring him back into the mix. I do see, of course, Artist looking for that potentially, and that'll be the confirmation. It'll be now the Hunter's Fury that tries to make things a little bit more difficult and unfortunately won't tag anyone.
Eccles getting onto the C site past the tripwire using that port. They hear the port, as they do have Sage over in short, so they hear that and they know what's going on. So Eccles is on site, going to go ahead and lay down that dark cover towards spawn. They've already pushed past it though, so Eccles is in kind of a difficult position. Actually going to get hit by the ult that comes out, the Rolling Thunder. There's the flash as well, and that works out real well for PartyParrots. It's a 4-on-2 in favor of PartyParrots as the push towards that C site gets completely crushed. And it comes down to SSK, who's around the corner. You've got the Sage on site as well. Cypher over towards the platform. Ray's the only one that isn't. Link's going to pick off Dinksj, who is peering up a little bit too much. And now, as a result, the res comes through, and it's a 3-on-3, but the time is a problem. 12 seconds left as they try to get towards the site. SSK is right around the corner. We'll get the first. There's the Treat Peaks coming out. Cryptic's going to find both, but with the clock where it's at, it's going to come down to the fight, and all the Rays has to do is survive, and there's the round win.
Yep, might even get the exit here with the last and final. Oh, that's going to be a cheeky little... Oh, close. I appreciate the attempt. That's going to be around here for PartyParrots. It's close. This could very well go to overtime, and that could mean a lot. We're having an early look at that pick. They broke down the wall, and unfortunately, the angle was just rough. You know what I think happened there? I wonder if Scream flashed onto the site as they were anticipating a push. They used a lot of the utility to slow them down from long, but unfortunately in the process, Eccles gets flashed too, and he can't really help the team as they push forward. And so I like how he got onto the site. They weren't even able to really tell. Of course, the audio cue might have given them a slight indication of where he might be, but I think Scream not accidentally, he was trying to flash onto the site, but Eccles just couldn't really do anything there.
This is a big round, as PartyParrots and fish123 continue to fight for control of the game. I mean, this is the best game we've seen from PartyParrots on Haven thus far, considering who they're playing against. Fish123 crushed everyone they played, including NIP on Haven, in this tournament so far. The 4-on-4 as the trades go back and forth over on the A site. Angel's going to get aggressive, and again, the trades just go back and forth. We find ourselves at a 2-on-2. The A site's lost, but only for a moment. Cypher is already here playing that defense. You've got Cryptics up in heaven, but the Sage is not there. Or it's Dinksj, excuse me, Cryptics being the wrong call out. That would be the other Cypher, excuse me.
Yes.
So it's now down to Solkus. 1v2. And he knows the op is here. 23 HP as the Sova. Wants to lead in with the Al drone. Kind of risky, given that there could be someone on the site. They could trace that path right to him. Just uses it real quick, just to make sure site's clear enough to get out and get that spike control. It is. So now, with 23 HP, how does he adjust and win this one? First one's already coming out through spawn. Goes for the peek. Gunned down through the box by Artist. PartyParrots taking the lead away in the tail part of this first map.
And that's their first lead of the map. Fish123 had a great start on defense. 8-4 was the scoreline. PartyParrots could hardly crack the shell, but still did a relatively better job. But having an early look here to the defense in the sewers, Angel finds one, but it's SSK there who's able to find a great swing together. It is, of course, the trade, but it's Dinksj that'll dwindle those odds even further for the defense with the operator. And so now, potentially, Fish123, they are, of course, on the force-up. If they lose this round, if PartyParrots are able to hold them off, then I think it's match point on an eco for Fish123. So they're desperately looking for anything that they can get. Angel, of course, going to be holding off the sewer push, but they're a little afraid to push forward. Gets tagged down to 80, and it's still the attack held up back near their spawn.
Shao pushed up really far on long A right now. He's got backup from the brim of Angel. You can see the buy coming in. Not exactly great. You've got Bulldogs in place here for Fish123. But they're currently playing this one a little bit slow. They don't want to wander into something and go into that identical back and forth battle. Shao is in a really good spot should they try to go out long. And even if they don't, if they go short, he's got a great flank. It all comes down to timing, as there's one on the backside of the play. So EC1S Eccles going to call that one out. Shao, though, still manages to get a second, and it's on to Scream, no less. So Eccles gets picked off first, then Scream goes down. Angel's here as well, pushed up on long. This round is looking disastrous for Fish123. We said this should likely be Fish123's map to take, but now I'm not so sure. This could actually have the makings of a 2-0 if PartyParrots can pull this off.
I like the relative bait towards the seaside. They'll actually even start to pull some of those members off. But Angel determined, as we have a look over towards a pip, they need to get that spike down. There's not a lot of time left. They might start to hear that execute from Angel, as that spike is going to go down. But will it go in time? The headshot's good, and now there's not enough time to get the spike down. It is all up to the last final two players. and it's the defense that win the round. Of course, Link going to make it expensive, 3 kills for him, but at what cost? It's match point for PartyParrots.
Would love to take a look at the credits, but obviously going to be difficult. Xiao was the one that got things started. That aggressive play on long, pushed up into that corner. Somehow not only takes out Eccles, but also finds the follow-up onto Scream, despite 3 players being grouped up, ready for a trade-out. That was huge. Had he gotten that timing wrong at all, had Xiao timed that even a little bit off, that is likely an early kill and advantage for fish123. So now it's fish123 who have their backs against the wall on the attack as PartyParrots have stolen the lead away and have now found themselves on match point. Again, day 1 of this event, they played against Needmore DM and it had to go to double overtime for them to win 15-13. They struggled to even get to that point as they went down 0-6 in the first half. This is a drastically different team. They've woken up, they've found that confidence, and fish123 is currently feeling somewhat deflated.
Well, quite honestly, it seems like PartyParrots are fighting for their ability to be picked up by a team, and especially after their performances in this tournament, I think it would be an absolute shame if a team does not have their eyes set on this roster. Considering their performances now against fish123 and their desire to move on to the semifinals, this would be the tournament to make your mark. Now looking at the actual round at hand, it is of course fish123 that are a little indecisive on where they want to go. All the intel that they were looking to gather has kind of come up empty-handed. And now they're playing the banana take a little bit more carefully, afraid of Xiao and his ability to hide in a nook and cranny that they might not expect. But fortunately for them, the A site's relatively clear. They've spent a lot of resources over towards C, anticipating a heavy push. And it's going to be actually the ultimate. I'm not quite sure if that's in heaven or hell. I'm going to assume that that's going to be in hell, as it'll be the Omen player that's back there. Eccles, still a couple more seconds left. There's not a whole lot of time to get that spike down, and he takes out the carrier. There's not enough time. Angel's mowing him down, and it's the first map win for PartyParrots.
I mean, you saw it. He's getting prepped for that ult. The Rolling Thunder comes through, but it doesn't go deep enough into heaven. So Angel just waits, delays. As soon as he hears that spike, pops the orbital strike right on top of the site, and then that flushes the spike out of position. When they try to get back in, he just peeks wide. Somehow they're not watching it. They're not paying attention. He's able to take out the planner, and that's the round going away. I mean, that is a disappointing map 1 coming in from fish123. After destroying everyone they've played on Haven, they lose to PartyParrots, a team who has struggled on it at times.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now for fish123. And in the analysis earlier on, having a look at both of the matches that they were able to play yesterday, of course, PartyParrots against G2, fish123 against NIP. I just have a feeling that fish123 were handled in a lot easier of a fashion with NIP in comparison to PartyParrots against G2. Like, Ascent went to overtime. Haven, of course, not a great map for PartyParrots, and G2 definitely had their number. But I have a feeling that yesterday was just a lot closer in that contention. And so now, PartyParrots, they were able to win the map that they statistically struggle on, and they're going to go to their map pick, which they have taken out G2 with. And so I'm quite afraid for the fish123 fans.
Not that long ago, they actually beat fish123 on Split 13-3. They crushed them. And typically, this is a really good map for PartyParrots in general. Again, we said this should have been fish123's map. Like, they should have taken Haven. It should have been easy for them. And then it should have been difficult on the second map, and it would go to that third map in the series. But now they have to go to Split. I don't know, man. I thought this was a 3-map series. Now I'm starting to think that this could be a 2-0 for PartyParrots.
Yeah, we've got the comeback kings. I think that's what we started to realize from PartyParrots. We've noticed that this team just doesn't get knocked down. We saw it yesterday where I think they were losing 10-2 or something on Ascent, managed to bring it all back, but didn't quite close out the match. Now they've done it once again, and I'll be honest, guys, like, is it just that the defense is that strong, or do you think there's something that a little bit special about PartyParrots when they're down?
Well, Haven, to me, at sometimes can feel a little bit more attacker-friendly. I mean, think about it logically. There's 3 sites to take. and there's only so much that the defense can really offer, especially if you catch the read early. In that last and final round, PartyParrots committed 2 or 3 members towards the C-B site, and there wasn't really much defense for A. They really put all the weight on Angel's shoulders, and he was able to deliver. Orbital Strike was able to delay the plant. They had no idea for some reason that he was in heaven. I'm not quite sure when you're pushing onto a site why you don't even look up there. I just think it was a little chaotic for fish123, but I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, just as you guys are.
The biggest issue is they played slow on a Brim ult. They should have been able to read the fact that Angel had that ult available. You need to know you can't play that slow against a Brim ult because you have to anticipate that it's going to be used for zoning or preventing the spike. And that's exactly what ends up happening. They took the clock down to like 10 seconds when they went onto that site. That's a problem, and that's something that should be better read from fish123. They played way too scared. Early on, they played aggressively. They used Scream's aim. They used Eccles' aim to kind of give them an advantage in a round. Then they started to get worried. The scoreboard, I think, kind of scared them. Mitch, I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I think so. Fish123 definitely looked a bit scared.
Just come on. They've been telling me to get rid of you guys for a while. Get some water. Get up. There's only room for one bald man on this desk. Get him out. Mitch, go on. This is your space now.
All right, finally. I was getting pretty hungry there, feeling like scrambled eggs all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm feeling like I agree with Bach on that. Just to build on the point that he made about Angel's ultimate, this game is on easy mode at the moment. Let's be realistic. You can see your opponent's economy. You can see their ult charges. If you're not able to go, Brimstone has his strike. Maybe we should bait that out. Or not push in the last 10 seconds so he can just deny it off that, get a kill and win the round. You know, you kind of deserve to lose that map then. I really don't know what happened to fish123. Okay, the defense works out well, sure, whatever. But they looked completely lost on the attack. I think they did as expected in the first half, really. And then the attacking side, they just couldn't get a foothold on. And I'd put that down to PartyParrots having some really well thought out, calculated aggression. You could see rounds where SSK and Angel were pushing up towards the A site. They were going up short, getting aggressive there together, getting in their opponents' heads, and then they would just slow it down in the preceding rounds so that the opponents really didn't know what to do. Fish123 are taking it cautiously, waiting for pushes to come in, which means that the clock is running down, and then when they do push forward, well, you've got your strike. You've got all your abilities left to use because you haven't had to commit anything to wasting down that clock.
I think this is a bit of a recurring theme as well. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Fish have done a lot of good work when it comes to their defense side. But I also feel like this comp in general that they currently have on their agents works very well on the defense, but some of the time it just seems to be that little piece missing when they're on the offense. And the worrying thing for me was there was a couple of rounds, especially towards the end, where you were having Scream double entry or at least get one, and they were still losing these rounds like quite dominantly versus just the sheer force that came through from PartyParrots, be it on the retake or even midway through the take. You just see like fast rotations, good flashes into the site, space gathered up by these aggressive CIS players. And it was something that was mentioned previously in an interview with Eccles. He said that he didn't think they could take, or they don't know how they'd do against NA because of how aggressive and random these players can be. Well, I don't think they thought about the CIS because they very much fall within that bracket.
No, 100% across CSGO and across this game. From what we've seen so far, they definitely do. I will disagree a little bit when it comes to the agent selection. I don't think that's necessarily a problem for fish123. I think they've got the opportunities to play aggressive. I mean, we've seen Omen be a massive player when it comes down to pushing sites. The paranoia that you can induce, not just with the ability of the same name, but also with the smokes and the teleports inside them. You can completely bait out your opponents into thinking that you're coming up behind them, or that you're in different positions when you're not. You can claim height. The things that we're seeing work over towards the opposing side of PartyParrots is often agents like Breach, which they have over towards the fish123 side, and they've quite a competent Breach as well. I don't just say that because Scream finished the game with 21 kills, but because of, as we've said before, getting tired of saying it, he's got well-placed aftershocks, his flashes are good, he knows how to use that agent on every map. The issue for me is how they're using them. It's that they're playing this really passive game. They get pushed once or twice on a specific part. A short is really what shines through to me. You know, Angel and SSK get aggressive there. They get a couple of kills, and all of a sudden, fish123 are playing scared the rest of the game of actually getting aggressive and taking any sort of control. This is a team that has one of the best aimers in the world. I want to see them come through with a bit of confidence. I want to see Scream go back to Reyna and start popping heads, because against CIS Counter-Strike, sometimes you just don't have a choice but to say, you want to just play an aim duel? Let's do it. I'm better than you. And I think Scream is probably the one that has the best chance of really sticking to his guns in that statement.
Well, the thing I wanted to ask you, actually, because this is more just me theorizing a little bit, but so you mentioned the fact that obviously you've got an Omen. It's a strong, aggressive character that we've seen on other teams. I think noticeably Kree has been someone who we've highlighted many a time. Do you think that an Omen should be your operator player? Because if anything, your operator player is normally a little bit slower, a little bit more static. So does it really make sense for him to be on the Omen?
I think there could be arguments for it. I would tend towards a no, just because I haven't seen, no one stands out in my mind as an Omen operator, and I think that I would probably have an example if it was viable. I much prefer the likes of a Raze or a Jet, just because they give you mobility, but also in an exit way as well. Like with a Raze, you can use your packs, have those blast packs down, so you can just jump out of the way. As soon as you hit the shot, you hit Q, boom, you're gone. Jet, obviously the dash is immensely important for opening duels. That's why you'll see agents or players like VAC be participants in many, many more opening duels than most operas would be, because he has that one dash where he can just zip on out of there. As far as Omen, I feel like that will stick you too much in the mud. Like if you're playing an operator with an Omen, they're not going to be as afraid that you're teleporting inside your own smokes. What are you going to do? Go for use it as a shotgun? At that point, you might use a judge instead. You're not going to be TPing up to height quite as much when you're going through in the aggressive plays. And almost more importantly, when you're coming through on these duels and you're putting in the paranoia and you're popping your smokes down just as you're about to fight, you're probably not going to be the one that's coming around the corner first then, which is often what we'll see from operators looking to grab those opening picks on sites.
Well, Mitch, there's at least one more map to go. So we're going to be heading into Split in just a moment, so I believe we can bring up some wonderful map statistics about Split. Now, obviously, this is a map that we've seen PartyParrots be pretty formidable on. Since pretty much the beginning of the beta, they have been a squad to fear on this map. What will it take for you, for Fish, to be able to steal this map away from their opponents?
Oh, we need to see confidence when it comes down to the middle control. I mean, one of the only issues I have for PartyParrots is if they get outclassed on the Raze game. But Xiao's on fire right now. And playing with him in towards middle, I really don't think they're going to have any sort of a problem in maintaining the control on the defense. So fish123 need to come through when they're on their attacking side and just start beating them, taking the control, playing aggressive, and showing PartyParrots that they can't feel comfortable in this series. Because at the moment, I don't think there was... Okay, the scoreline didn't look great for them at one point, down 8-4. Sure, that's not ideal. But when PartyParrots were thinking about aggression, it never really seemed like they were worried, like, oh, but what if they're waiting there for us? They were just going, they're like, all right, hopefully they're waiting there for us so I can kill them. And that's not what we see from fish123. So I want to see the confidence, because this is one of the best teams in the world right now. And I really don't think they're playing like it, giving a little bit too much respect to PartyParrots as the CIS team.
Yeah, I think that was something we always noted about their previous maps of Haven, is they were getting very aggressive, getting up in the face. I think that a player we have to highlight going into this map, and we do it quite often, but it has to be Angel. Like, the way that he plays this map is somewhat ludicrous. Like, I think if you're, as I said, if you're trying to learn Valorant, if you're trying to get better as a player, watching Angel is probably not for you. I will say that he uses all the abilities fantastically well, and his orbital strikes in the last map were probably one of the main reasons I think the PartyParrots were able to come back. But on this map, he is an out-and-out entry fragger. He likes to run up mid, make things awkward, and basically set up his team. The only worry for me is when that doesn't work. I think that's where we see a bit of a weakness in the offense. So I do wonder, is there a specific player that you can see maybe coming from fish123 who might just have the job of getting rid of Angel in those early portions of the round?
I mean, that's Scream, right? He's the one that should be participating. He definitely participated in the most opening duels in the previous map. Angel, I mean, look, Party Pirates pick this map. So Fish are more than likely, unless they're completely crazy, going to start in the defensive side. That means the first guy in pretty much every time is going to be Angel. He's the one you got to deal with. So in that sense, I guess you don't really get a choice who's taking those duels. Because if they go A, Screams B, well, he's not, well, hopefully not participating in the opening duel in that case. But it's more so you have to be ready for a very different style of gameplay. This is a team that have leadership from one of the greatest minds out there who understands, especially in Valorant at the moment, who understands that his job as a Brimstone, he puts the smokes down, he uses orbital strikes in certain scenarios to pull them ahead, and he gets killed. That's pretty much his job. He's first man in, Xiao's behind him, Xiao's trading and getting the kills and looking like a beast. Everyone sings his praises. And in games where Angel's hitting his shots first, yes, he'll look like an absolute animal. But you can see him towards the middle or even the bottom of the scoreboard, and still he'll be a massively impactful player. Also, you got to give him props. He made it work on Haven as a Brimstone, which is the one map that even back before Omen was massively overpowered, not massively overpowered, but that he was patched to the extent he is now, we were still saying we like to see Omen more so on Haven. And now, more than ever, we almost criticize Brimstone players on it. We see players that only play Brimstone go to Omen. But Angel, no, he sticks to his guns. He's not taking advice from anybody on that matter.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. I feel like at this point he's proven how it can be worked. I think another player, I always seem to bring him up, but I'm going to be going for SSK, because I think in the victory that they had facing off against G2, he was their best player, especially in the early stages of the match, where they had these sort of like first 4-0 start, I think it was, and I think 2 of the last couple of rounds that they won was basically after plant situations where SSK was just able to not only get the perfect flashbangs to leave people in awkward positions, but also just get some kills. Like, he was fragging out of his mind. And that's the one thing that does scare me, is that, okay, we haven't necessarily seen bad performances from the guys at Fish, but if the players from PartyParrots play to their top level, I genuinely believe they can beat any team in the world. I think they were very close to sending G2 into this very situation. It was a round or two that would have meant that G2 were facing off against Fish as an elimination match, which, considering they're easily 2 of the best teams in Europe at the moment, that would have been a big, big surprise. Now PartyParrots are looking to basically put their stamp down, and I just think from how well they've done on the first map, not their choice. Now going into their comfort pick for the last few months, you almost have to feel like this is in their favor now, right?
Yeah, I look for PartyParrots coming into this series, coming into this tournament. They've been together since literally the very beginning. We saw these guys in week 3 Valhalla back in May, and it's the same lineup. They've been grinding. They've been putting all their time into this. They've got some insane stars. You're mentioning SSK. He comes from Fortnite. He's a beast. His decision making is just insane. That's really what we compliment him for. Dinks as well. Like himself and SSK can go games where they're on the bottom of the scoreboard, just like on Haven, but they're doing their job. They're being very, very patient. I have not once seen these guys make the kind of decisions that Pith made just the other day, where like they've got 6 or 7 kills coming towards the start of the next half and they go, I'm just going to push and try to get some frags. They never feel like they need to. And I think that speaks to, I don't know exactly. Hopefully we get to do an interview with them at some point to ask about the comms on the team. But I imagine they're very positive and everybody understands, like, if you lose an opening duel, no one sat there going, God damn it, man. Why you know, there's none of that negativity, but because they never seem to make the decisions as if there's any pressure on their shoulders. So with that in mind, the fact they've been together so long, they're now a map up, they're coming into somewhere that we know they can perform. I really don't see, I don't think you can pick Fish as the favorites moving into this. Certainly not if they play the way they did on the other. We've given our tips to them of what they need to do. We want to see the confidence coming back into this next map. And well, I'm hoping that we get to see a third. As I said, I want to see ascent between these two teams, but I'm not confident that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think I actually want to lean again towards like the sort of coaching staff, I guess, that we have with Fish as well. Like Sliggy's someone who obviously massively experienced both in Counter-Strike and, of course, as an observer within that as well. Been working one-on-one with Eccles a lot for basically build the fundamentals of this team now. From what I've seen, like just taking glimpses at the cams, I think it's evident that Eccles is also like the calm within the storm. I think that's something that the UK scene, at least within other games, has always suffered from, is the fact that a lot of people get quite ragey and angry, and I think that there's plenty of people who play worse based off emotion, whereas I think Eccles is someone who can definitely bring them back. If you're Sliggy in these sort of moments, like, what are you really talking through with the team? Because obviously that has been their one shining light of a map. That's the one where we go, they've been sick so far, no one's been able to come close to them, and they just lost. Now you go into your opponent's choice where, okay, we have seen them play it once, and they got banged like that. I think that's the most dominant performance we've seen from any of the top teams. Okay, sure, the 13-0 versus Prodigy, but I'm going to forgive them for that. So that's probably the most one-sided result we've seen between two teams we expect to be in playoffs. So how do you come back after such a damaging defeat and then go, okay, guys, we're going to go win this?
I don't know. I mean, the last time they played on this map, it was 13-3. I don't know how you come in and with a smile on your face. I'm guessing there's going to be some shifts in the game plan. I think we're going to see more aggression from fish123 if they're really having that conversation. I don't know, fellas. What do you guys think? Let's see what Buck and Simo are contemplating.
Hold on. First of all, Tom, why have you not started the game? It's all your fault. you know, like, you have a magical button that you press. Everyone wants to see you in your Vans shirt.
I think it's this. I think it's. Oh wait, it's actually ready. It was this button. Sorry, I haven't been pressing it for a while.
You pushed it.
Take it away. Take it away before it breaks. Before something goes wrong. Come on.
Look at what he did. He made us wait, chat. It's his fault. Hashtag blame Tom Biz. You guys can spam that in chat as much as you want. He's the bad bald guy. I'm the good bald guy. Let's make sure that's understood. Simo, that first map didn't go so well for the likes of fish123, and now they got to move on to a map that PartyParrots is very controlling on. Are fish123 a little bit scared moving into this next map?
Oh, of course, 100%. There's a lot on the line. Their comfort pick map did not really go their way. But one of the key factors that I think fish123 will find success with is on the defense. That is something that is, of course, going to aid on a map like Split. It's a defensive-sided map. And against G2, PartyParrots, all they had to do was close out 3 rounds, but G2 made it very difficult for them. So I'm looking at side selection here. If fish123 start off on defense, they might have a chance. But if we end up with something like an 8-4.5, you hate to see it. PartyParrots are just going to come swinging back on the defensive side. So it might actually just boil down to side selection and how the rounds start to unfold before our very eyes.
Kind of curious on the agent composition as well. We will see a Raze brought in from both sides. Love to see Raze played on this map. Also like to see Omen played. So we'll see the Omen from fish123, likely to be Eccles. Early on, they go for some aggression towards B main. The Boombot gets obliterated immediately. There's a Raze inside that smoke, and yikes. Those shots were so dangerously close to that Raze.
Yeah, now the push up. We saw exactly what Tom said. Angel walking up through it, making it a nightmare, but Eccles, he'll be there for the refrag. Still now down to the 4v4, but they are committed towards this B take, and the defense now having to funnel back in the alleyways. It's going to be the battle of the pistols here, and Scream just has to leave that. He does not want anything to deal with it. And unfortunately for Artist, he had to reload as Scream was just passing him by. That was a very weird interaction. Well, they have control. They're going to get that spike down. Eccles will find one, but it's Xiao with a quick, clean headshot, and now here comes the retake.
Link popping that heal onto Scream, able to propel him forward into a one-on-one. But somehow it's Dinks J who survives in the exchange against the one and only Screamy Bobby. It will be the first round going to PartyParrots. fish123 starting on the defense on Split. Again, you gotta hope they can put up at least a decent amount of rounds because this is a very strong map for PartyParrots, but losing that pistol is an inauspicious start.
Ooh, look at this force up. They are, I mean, I wonder what's going through their minds right now. They're probably worried. They lose the pistol, and so they want to keep the rounds in their favor, right? And so they're taking a risk here. They're buying armor, they're buying weapons, but most importantly, they're buying shotguns. They're going to make it very difficult for the PartyParrots to push in. And this might be the answer that Tom was looking for. How are you going to deal with somebody like Angel who's just going to run in middle dry and find one kill, maybe 2 kills. He's got a pistol, and they're going up against some shotguns. Let's see how they end up doing.
Solkas right around that corner with that Bucky. He's ready to unload. Oh, the nade might get things started first. It's going to push him out right into the sights. Easy kill coming in off the shotgun. The judge, though, not as successful for Link over on the B site. Again, you see a wide swing come out from the shotgun of Solka. Scream, luckily, is there with the Sheriff, and even though it's not a headshot, it's a kill regardless coming out for fish123. Not a great start in the round. Solka's right around the corner.
Nice.
Doesn't spot out SSK. So we're back at a 3-on-3.
Still going to be some weapons online for fish123. Of course, Scream there had the Sheriff. 1 taps, were able to find 1, could not find the second there as SSK crosses over towards the sewers. And now with those smokes, Michael's trying to make it a little bit more difficult for the attack to push in. They're already in. It's already too late. Those smokes are not really going to get the job done, but it's the judge that'll take Artist out of the mix. The defense held up in heaven, and now it'll be a little bit more difficult for those shotgun shots to really make a difference. Cryptics, though, back corner of the site, and the force up ends up working in their favor. A quite important round for them to win, I have a feeling. PartyParrots will see what they're going to be end up buying. But of course, they don't really have the economy. Angel going to be going deep into the pockets for the Vandal, while the rest of the team likely not going to follow suit. Maybe they'll look for him to do a lot of the fragging, and if he ends up falling, they'll just pick up the weapon and continue the chain. We've seen how they swing together as a team. On the opposite side, though, we see 3 assault rifles, Eccles, Solkas, and Link. They're ready to keep the momentum going in their favor, and they desperately need to do so.
You know, we hear this meme in Counter-Strike a lot. What if they were just saving strats? That's why they haven't played well on Split thus far. They were just saving strats. And they were saving it for this match. Maybe there's a world we do go to that 3rd map. Who knows? Nice play coming out from Solkas. The breach charge actually doesn't manage to take out any of those players despite being lined up right outside that detonation radius. Scream with the SMG, gonna get 1 more. There's a rifle on the ground right to his right. Gonna just continue to play with the SMG for now. Pivoting between Heaven and B site. It's just 2, though, that survive. It's SSK, and it's the Cypher. It's DinksJ. You've got SSK all the way up in mid. DinksJ going back towards the spike with the Sheriff. And he does grab it, but there's 2 players on each side, so it'll be an even 2-on-2 regardless of which direction they go.
Which does mean that the odds can really start to be a little bit easier for PartyParrots to deal with. And of course, now DinksJ is going to pick up a Spectre, as there were some more weapons on the ground. They see the back corner. Scream going to try to get some of that damage done from a distance with the ADS, but DinksJ actually doesn't pick up a new weapon. He's going to stick with the Sheriff, while there's going to be SSK with the Vandal pushing up forward. But they need to act quick, as the rest of the fish123 members are starting to push in, but the 2 on the site will be able to defend it well. And unfortunately for Cryptics, does not have the hops to pick up the Vandal there. And that'll just go into the Nether Realm. But now, everyone but Angel will be able to buy some weaponry. He might still decide to force up here. And we'll see if this round will at least go towards PartyParrots. You know, on the attack, it can be very difficult to really crack the shell. Looking at the little hat on the frog, it's got its own little eyeballs there too. But, you know, one of the things that NIP was able to do successfully against fish123 was actually their agent selection. They were comfortable enough to pick Reyna, whereas Scream is obviously swapping over to the Breach. But we know that he has Reyna experience, and I wonder if bringing it to Split would be something that would help the team. I know that the Breach is something that he's decided to take a role on, regardless of the map, but I wonder how the Reyna would have looked and felt on this map.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Reyna is far from a perfect agent currently. Reyna can work on the right map. You'll see teams sometimes put Reyna into play on Ascent, very occasionally on Split as well. I still don't love the pick, but it is a very self-serving agent, meaning like the role works well for that individual. So part of me likes the idea of him playing that. But again, I understand why you wouldn't, because it isn't perfect right now in its current state. So if the breach is working, I don't want to necessarily see him swap off. And let's be fair, the breach is working. There's the ult coming out from Solkas. He goes up over the wall with the blast pack, takes out the Sage, dies immediately to Angel. A well-placed shot coming out from the Guardian. Link as well, a one and done, but there's still Scream on the site. They know he's here as the flashes came out, giving away his position. It's again another close situation, a 2-on-2, but when they go for the spike plant, Echoes drops out of heaven, takes a little bit of damage, but it doesn't matter. It will be a third round now for fish123, another promising round start from PartyParrots, but they're having trouble once it comes down to those close end of round scenarios. That's exactly what we saw last time. A mid round, they started to lose quite a few bodies. They couldn't win the end round, and the same thing happens again here. Fish123 getting off to a decent start here on the defensive side, but it does feel like it's just a matter of time once the money balances out well for PartyParrots, but they just continue to force the issue. They continue to spend cash. They're dropping some players down, like Shao on 1,000 with a stinger and some armor. You almost feel like it'd be better for them to just wait.
Yeah, they might just be a little bit confident on the economy that'll bounce back. They are, of course, on the 2-loss streak, and so they're guaranteed 2,900 regardless of the outcome. 3,000, of course, if they win the round, but already starting to look very unlikely as Link will find one at a distance. Having a quick look at, obviously not a Cypher camera, just a look in towards the middle, but it's looking like fish123 are wanting to fight for this. They'll find two with Shao and SSK with just pure stingers, able to make it work. The defense is starting to slightly fall apart, and that'll be a couple of upgrades that come into the hands of the PartyParrots. Cryptix, though, has a great angle in the mailroom, and now it's just down to Shao. Sifi's able to find a couple for his money. It'll be dangerously low here for Cryptix as he gets down to 2 with the blast pack, but Link with a great crossfire to come support the middle push. It's 4 rounds now for the side of fish123, and PartyParrots is likely going to be another gun round for them upcoming.
I mean, we casted the Pulse Invitational. We got to see one team who loved the Stinger, Code 7. More specifically, Rob Wiz, who gave us a masterclass. My man has a PhD in Stinger utilization. He worked it so well as the Jet, but it doesn't necessarily work for every agent. I say the Raze is probably one it does work with because you can use, again, those blast packs to satchel your way into a better position.
What was
that? That was interesting. All right, yeah. So Scream sends that one high into the sky. Not really sure what the plan was there, but the op peak early has to be utilized to take out the Boombot, which was moving towards that B site. But they're still playing aggressive in B main currently. You've still got Scream here, who's waiting on the other side of that dark cover.
You know, applying that pressure towards the middle and B main is proving to be a little bit of a challenge for PartyParrots. Usually we'll see them play quite aggressively and try to find some early picks towards the middle, but it definitely benefits you if you're on the defense, having a little bit more space to work with and more space to fall back on. You know, when you're pushing up the middle, there isn't too many places to hide. It's going to be Angel that clears out the tunnel that leads towards the B site. Artist going to find one in heaven and now back away. It'll be Solkas that is looking for the refrag there to try to push up. Scream now in a little bit of trouble. Gets taken down to 83. Trying to hop over. A bullet whiffs past and tags him down to 79. Still looking for the engagement. Still alive somehow as bullets are sent flying his way one after another. And now here comes the red carpet. The celebrities are out and they're on the show. Shao with 2. Artist with a 3rd. And it's just down to Link. Looking like a successful take here for PartyParrots. Spike going down. And a round on the table for them.
Yeah, Link has the operator down right to his left, decides not to get it. Oh my gosh. As he continues to retreat, shots just continue to pour through that wall. The plaster and wood, not enough to stop that penetration coming through from the rifles. He does escape, but he's on low HP, went for the heal, but taking damage during the heal, pauses the heal, so he's down to 62 health currently over on the A site, looking for an avenue to escape, and good luck getting away. They are well on the hunt. A flawless round coming out from PartyParrots. You can see Scream was on the site. He goes for that Rolling Thunder ult, goes for the peak, starts taking a lot of damage. Actually got dinked like almost immediately. And if anything, this train should have been an illustration of the direction that Scream should have been going in. Once he saw that many bodies, he should have been out of there. Take that train, take the bullet train, and get out of that B site. He was looking towards heaven for a heal after that, but the Sage was too far away. he was coming up ropes towards vents. So there was no support that he needed. And he's like, guys, please help me. As he goes for that Rolling Thunder, goes for the flash. Tremor goes down as well. Nothing was slowing them down. They managed to get onto the site with ease.
And still we see round after round, fish123 try to have control of the middle here. Early shot from Eccles. A shot's good. Walking his way out of there with the TP, and he'll survive, and it's an early pick onto the PartyParrots. The resurrection puts Angel back in the mix, and honestly, I understand the play. Having your top fragger, your most impactful player back into the mix. You'll likely see that as we move forward if Scream ends up falling, and there's a position to revive him and put him back in the play. But PartyParrots still committed to mid control, but that seems to be the name of the game on split here, and so they'll have that control and now start to look towards a potential A push. Already we've had DinksJ set up and prepared as he's spent a lot of time looking down the ramp, and it's been quite clear, so they'll slow walk their way in, but it's the defense now gathering a little bit more information. Scream smells that it's not going to be the B push, pushes up towards B main, and has a look into some of those early spots near the B site. Eccles looking in the mid lane, no one's there, and now Link, it's going to be the A push that's confirmed. First frag onto Artist, still a couple more, and it's the blast pack that whiffs Eccles' shot down to 25, and oh, he can't land another. They're just playing cat and mouse with him, but it's the rest of the defense that funnel in from heaven. They'll find the frags they need. Shao as well sends the showstopper flying, but this crazy round really goes the way of the defense as they're able to retake the site before really the spike is even to go down. And in those scenarios, that is where teams thrive. If you make it difficult for the attack to get the spike down and get cozy in a post plant, the defense really are able to make it difficult for the attack to get comfortable.
That was a little awkward there for Eccles. So Eccles pops the ult for intel towards mid, does see the Brim come through from vents, but didn't spot anyone else. So they get prepared to lock down ropes. At that time, the push is coming through from A ramp. So they're dealing with a two-player hold on the site, both back elbow. You've got the operator there, and you've got the rifle from the Sage. Despite the fact that Eccles whiffs the first shot thanks to the blast pack coming in from the Raze, he still survives for a few more shots, and he's low on HP, but he doesn't get the heal from Link, who's right next to him, because the push is still underway, and Link's trying to play defense, doesn't have time to turn around and go for that heal. So in the heat of that moment, in the heat of battle, you see Eccles eventually succumb to his injuries, but luckily the Sage is able to survive, and they're also able to grab that operator and bring it into the next round. 5 rounds now on the board for fish123. PartyParrots looking to gather up control of mid. We've seen this style of approach to holding mid before, playing a lot more passively, playing back inside the ropes drop, just kind of sitting down there in the pit waiting for them to come through, and it usually works out pretty well. You know, you've got the Brim right on the other side. If Link just holds this, very likely to result in a kill, but never mind. Angel was looking at the ground, not prepared for the push, and Link gets the timing perfectly. I was a little concerned until we went into the perspective of Angel, and he was staring at his toes.
I think he was actually about to pull up the smokes and prepare for the
execute.
But I don't know what. I think it was going to be the fake execute towards A. But of course, Eccles is already there on the other side. He would have smelt it coming a mile away. And as they start to funnel in towards B, Scream and Solkis find the frags they need. There's only one traded away by Shao. But at this point, it is just too little too late as they will find everything that they need on the side of fish123. 6-2 the scoreline. PartyParrots just trying to lay on rounds as much as they can. Likely not going to have the economy moving into the next one. As you can see, it's pistols. They've got a little bit, but they'll likely just force up to a point where, they'll just spend it all. Okay. Which means that in the round to follow, they won't have the weaponry online. So if fish123 win this one, we could see an 8-2 scoreline very quickly, and that becomes scary for PartyParrots.
Appreciate our observer also giving us the arrivals and departure times. Lets me know that my train is on time to the Chromodome at 8:03. There's Shao going in quick with the SMG. You know, we talked about it. Raze and Jet, those two players who can kind of utilize the SMG on this map to get into an advanced position, and he does just that. Taken out by Solkis, his opposite Raze. But they've already lost control of the site. The problem is the spike isn't there. The spike's actually all the way back in spawn. So they went for this aggro play on A, using the Raze blast packs to get into this position, but then they fail to capitalize on that. Now, Artist at least has control of ropes, but a little bit of a peculiar scenario here. Look at Scream, stuck inside the smoke. Gonna go ahead and send that out onto the site, but it's just a little bit too late as the spike's already been secured and they can shift out of position.
Yeah, a very difficult spot for them to be in as well. They know that there's a pesky artist somewhere hanging around, and so makes it very difficult to start to spread out. It'll be artists now that'll be there relatively behind their back. Scream, unfortunately, timing not going to work out in his favor. Cryptics, though, timing works out for him, and now it's down to the 1v3. And the fault line means that they are looking to push him out. Angel can be the one that leads that charge, and that charge he will lead as he sends a headshot flying onto Cryptics. Around on the board for PartyParrots, and the more that they develop here in this first half, the easier their second becomes. So looking back at the departure times, just for you that may be missing some of your early trains, we have Osaka at 7:18 and Battery at 7:21. So if you want to hurry up on those, they will be boarding shortly.
Where is the Chromo Dome? Is that me? Is this an insult for me and Tom Biz? Should we feel insulted? They're making fun of bald people. Not fair. Uncool, Rito. 3 rounds on the board for PartyParrots. So as much as I want to be insulted right now, maybe it's them who should be insulted. This is a map they should be a lot stronger on. To be fair, very defensive-sided map. So like this is a little bit to be expected, but we were hoping to see a little bit stronger of an attack come out from them, and as of yet, we haven't quite seen that.
I like the early picks. It's the 4v4 now. Eccles, though, we've seen how he can just push up and find the frags with the operator, but you could see that PartyParrots don't really want any of that. Xiao, the only one that kind of sticks around to see if there's any late lurkers that push in through B main, but now they'll start to funnel in. Control of mid has really been just given up by fish123 round after round. And in some cases, we see a little bit of like a U-shaped defense. They'll give up mid, but they'll push up aggressively through B and A to try to get early looks if the attack is pushing in. And in most cases, it's PartyParrots that just send one to just keep an eye on things. This time it's DinksJ who's going to be pushing in from that angle. But the rest of the team, they have mid control. They push in through ropes. Cryptic's going to be the one that really makes it difficult. He's going to find 2 for the road, but Xiao will find some as well. And now it's just down to the 2v2, and the defense are late for the retake. But it's Eccles that'll be the one that meets Scream there first.
PartyParrots get site control again, and they get the spike down. Should be able to find their 4th round here as they have the showstopper at their disposal. It's all about how they use it. But they do have to contend with Eccles and Scream, and Eccles has the operator. Scream doesn't really matter what's in his hands. He's Scream. As they start working their way out, it's all going to come down to the timing here for DinksJ. Oh, a little bit awkward there for a second, but does end up winning the 1v1. Eccles going to tap the spike inside the dark cover, has swapped out to the Phantom. DinksJ isn't falling for it, starts to span through, now shifts positions. He's got to worry about Eccles going around the backside, starts to read it as the peek comes through. PartyParrots will find the round. It's an expensive one, but again, it's split attack side. As long as you can get rounds, it doesn't really make a difference. Eccles got things going early with that operator. Cryptics was able to chime in as well. It was looking somewhat promising again for fish123 as he found even a second. But then it came down to this 1v1, and it was just really well read from DinksJ after taking Scream down in the initial 1v2 to bring it to that point. Scream also not having a great first half here on the defense, 6 and 7 as the breach. Eccles 10 and 6 with Cryptics kind of top of the charts for them.
You know, I was really worried for DinksJ there. I thought he might end up a little empty on the clip, but does work out for him. And really, the worst case scenario now for PartyParrots is an 8-4 half, and that's not even really that bad. Still a lot of buffer rounds that they can work with. Xiao going to find one early. DinksJ as well to follow suit as they start to push in on towards the A side. Scream makes his way to the party, but he may be a little too late. That spike, of course, now going to start to go down, and Scream will win the duel from a distance. DinksJ going to feel that one in the morning, but Xiao already on an early looker, and Cryptics will read it. Take out and support Scream from the defender spawn. Spike down, and it's the 2v3 retake.
Ult's getting popped here. The Neural Theft and the Res come through. Solcus right around the corner will lose that fight with Angel. There's the Rolling Thunder coming in from Scream Artist with a crisp shot onto Cryptics. And now Scream with almost no HP has to try to clutch this one out. Artist still under the effects of that Rolling Thunder, not afraid. Because, you know, you talk about Scream's one-taps. Well, he can do it too. So it will be another round for PartyParrots. Now things are starting to look how we anticipated they would coming into this first half. As a 6-6 scoreline seems somewhat likely, given that the buy coming in from fish123 is not going to be great. You're going to have a shotgun for Link. Solcus is making his decision. It's going to be a Bucky for him as well. 2 Bulldogs and a Phantom.
Yeah, 6-6 is actually perfect for PartyParrots. A huge round buffer that they can work with on the second half. And when they were up against G2, it was a 10-2 half. G2, of course, on attack. Now imagine that. PartyParrots in control on the defender side. It is looking scary now for fish123. And we talked about it. This may be one of the best teams, one of the top teams in Europe. And PartyParrots are making them really work for it here. I don't actually think that they were anticipating losing that round, and so the broken buy kind of reflects that. They're like, oh crap, well now we don't really have the money to make things competitive. So PartyParrots can at least feel a little bit more confident, but still they're playing it a little slow at the beginning of the round.
Again, that passive ropes control coming in from fish123. Artist not looking straight down where Link is in position with the shotgun. Surprise! The Bucky punishes, taking the Sage out of play. That's huge. Losing that utility and, of course, that oh-so-potent heal. Solkas in position on the opposite end of where that push was coming through in heaven with, again, the shotgun. The Bucky waiting for the push. The tripwire gets taken out, giving away that position. And as they hear that shotgun fire, they're like, I don't like this anymore. The nade's going to come through as well as the blast pack, a follow-up blast pack in there to boot. Now they're finally going to be moving forwards, and they've actually been able to push that raise back. The shotgun peek doesn't work out well for Solkas, who's dropped by Angel, who's having a fantastic game thus far. Coming through into the site, they take out Cryptix as well. You know what they have to fight with here on the site. It's going to be Link up in heaven with the shotgun, but it's Eccles who's got the Bulldog, who's putting in work. Rez coming out from Link as well, but the spike's been planted, so they do eventually lose site control. It's down to the 2-on-3.
They still have the showstopper available, which can definitely take out an opponent when used in the right scenario. Eccles, I'm not sure. I think that might have been the pump fake. Maybe it's going to be the showstopper that clears out the back site, but actually manages to find Shao and Link with the Bucky. It's going to be the 7-5 scoreline. fish123 off of the broken buy find themselves a thrifty round. And still, now that we swap halves, let's see how they keep this momentum up. The pistol can be quite difficult, especially now that it is PartyParrots on the defense, but let's see how they end up holding up against fish123.
I mean, that's how things got started, Link. Point blank range with that shotgun. And then on the retake, they just find all of these kills. I mean, it's kind of interesting how fast that happens and how misread maybe that situation is. Once you hear that rocket pop, you don't see anyone really hiding. You see the Raze, if anything, going for an aggressive peek. And then they double shotgun peek the last player in spawn. Still, though, PartyParrots put up 5 rounds in the first half. That's not that bad on Split. I mean, Split right now is heavily defense-sided. I think the statistics are like 70-30 or 65-35. So we'll see what PartyParrots can do now that they switch over to the defense. Like you said, it starts here in the pistol. If PartyParrots win the pistol and the round that follows, which proved to be problematic in the first half, then they can tie things up when the first buy round comes through.
Artist already spotting out Scream, who's playing quite aggressively, but we see Angel. He's ready to do Angel things. It's Eccles that checks the corner, but he doesn't check it fully. Link has the ability to find the refrag there, and that's crucial. Angel, the one that makes it very disruptive here for the attack, is already out of the mix. And so that gives a little bit more space for the attack to work with. Looking towards the B side, there are 2 there. Ready for the defense, Dinksjay and Shao. Shao, of course, has the paint shells ready. Here's some of that utility start to come through and smells that it might be the opposite push as well. Artist on the opposite side. Scream gonna find him. Scream helping his team find another. Solkas will take out Shao. And now it's the 2v3. Looking like fish123 can win this round.
Scream on site, dedicating to the plant. PartyParrots. The 2 remaining members, one of them very, very low on HP. That's the Cypher, so a lot of weight for SSK here to lift. Flash is going to lead them into the site. The first one to peek will be the Cypher, despite the low HP, looking to get that trade opportunity, just saying, bait me, bait me, bait me. Dinksjay goes to the back of site, goes back behind the box. Nice swing coming out from Solkas, and now it's SSK who's low on HP. Scream to his left and one to his right. Great timing as both players peek on the back of the breach utility. So it will be an 8th round for fish123 and a chance to propel themselves towards that 9th round, assuming they can combo these rounds together. That first half, the pistol was won, and the opposition won the second round. The same could happen here.
You know, I wonder if Angel managed to fall back or at least swing and find a second kill, how that round would have looked. Wish we had the opportunity to look at some of the defense, if they're deciding to force up or if they're staying on the pistol, because if they force up, they can make it very difficult for the attack. So SSK's shorty gives me a lot of information on what's going on here on the defensive side. So looking like a fruitful 9th round for fish123, and quite honestly, they desperately need it, because I have a feeling once PartyParrots start to come online, they are going to shut them out hard. And so far, 2 towards middle for the attack here to kick us off, 3 towards what looks like to be the A push, but they're a little bit held up here. A lot of utility giving information towards mid, but they've actually stacked a lot of members towards this A site. As they start to pull off, things might get hairy very quickly.
They're slowly working their way in. Finally, you'll see that utility pop the boom bot to lead them in. The nade comes in and splits the push a bit. So Solkas is alone, but it doesn't make too much of a difference. Solkas getting the opener. A follow-up from Scream. Shao drops in, manages to upgrade. Gonna get flushed out of position, but it doesn't make a difference. Nice shots coming in from Shao, who's been oh so good thus far. The problem is they realize they have full B site control. So the spikes already ran through heaven, has made it into the site. Link's going to be locking down spawn, looking for anyone that could be playing defense. Site's completely clear. The thing is they haven't flushed out site yet, so they're still playing this one a little bit slow, making sure that there's no one hiding in backside, no one hiding spawn. That gives time for the rotate over from Shao. Cypher is a bit disconnected from the play, so the Cypher sitting at bottom mid right now, watching for that ropes rotate. There's no one coming through from ropes. They're all coming through from spawn.
And what I like about this is that PartyParrots were able to upgrade 2 of the weapons. So you're seeing Artist, he's trying to clear things out. Dinkshay with the shorty takes Link down to 66, and still it's going to be now the 2v3. Fish123 with the man advantage, and Cryptic's playing quite far back, and it's a very interesting plant as well. They'll get that barrier orb as well, and they'll actually commit to the defuse. It's still going to be dangerous as they need to be a little bit more careful. Shao gonna get taken out, and it's all down to Artist as Eccles will find 2. A very close 9th round, but Fish123 will scrape it together. I really thought that PartyParrots would have made it a little bit more expensive, but they weren't even able to make a dent. 3 will still stand, and now the 9-5 scoreline. And actually, while we're here, do you want a cup of coffee? You want a bagel?
I'd love a cup of coffee.
Yeah?
I love that we have like all these little, we were talking about it yesterday, all these little details on maps that you don't even see. It shows like it illustrates the attention to detail from Riot level designers. Just like creating this little store. You're never going to go in there. Like, unless you're flying third person, you're never going in there. But someone who designs the map takes great pride in all of those little accessory pieces. Reminds me of the map designer from Counter-Strike, FM Pone, who does the same thing. Like, if you look at one of the more popular maps like Cache, that he's helped work on, along with Volcano, who's also a big part of the Valorant project, there's all these details like the playgrounds in the background and hotels and the new safe containment, which is the big thing they built around Chernobyl to prevent the radiation from leaking out. Like, all of that attention to detail, it might not necessarily make a difference to the player when they're actually in the map, but I appreciate it as someone who has to watch the map a lot. So it's as someone who gets to see those outsides of the map, the areas that you don't necessarily get to play in, I appreciate that attention to detail. Artists currently holding mid vents. There's a couple of players around the corner in mid. You've got the Omen here, and you've also got Link, who's now backing off with the spike heading over towards A. Eccles is currently just making sure that the push doesn't come through. Fake TP doesn't really fool Artist, but somehow, despite the fact that Eccles was caught off guard by a blindside shot, he'll still end up winning, even with weaker hardware on the Bulldog.
And he's going to upgrade here too, but Shao might see a couple of these members rotate through. It's going to be Shao that finds one. SSK will trade as well, but it's Cryptics to make it a little bit more difficult. So Shao, the last line of defense here on the A side, as the rest of the defense will start to funnel in through from the defender spawn. Eccles knows that it might be difficult for this Heaven control, and so he'll back away and take the long way around. So now it is possible for the defense to make their way back through. It's the 3v2, and Eccles is really taking his time to make his way around. Link gonna find Angel, and already the leader of the team has fallen, so the backside control is so far working for them. But here comes the showstopper to make it that much more difficult, and it's the swing from Dinksjay that'll find 2. Eccles trying to make it a little bit more difficult for the defuse. But finally, PartyParrots, they'll find a round on the board and continue to keep things close.
We have a map. It looked like PartyParrots was going to take this series 2-0 after they took a map that we didn't anticipate them being able to find a win on. And they're just so good on Split historically. They've played really well, beating this same team really badly. But again, we don't necessarily know some of the pieces of that history, what sides they started on. Did PartyParrots get the start on the defense? Did they get that leg up in that first half? And also, adjustments have been made. Team compositions have changed. We've seen role swaps. Obviously, early on, Scream was playing the Sage, then started playing the Reyna. Now he's really found his comfortability in the breach play. And at the same point in time, Scream has kind of been a non-factor. If we're being honest, Scream has struggled in this second map. Where he was the top performer in map 1, he's definitely fallen off, but his flash is still there. Still a piece of these takes. There's the flash coming out to try to open things up, but the molly is down and Link can't escape the flames. Fire and ice preventing him from escaping that molly damage. And as a result, yet again, the Sage is taken out early in the play. DinksJ gonna find one more, peeking aggressively from back of sight towards B main. That Solk is falling, and since the Sage is gone, the Rez is out of contention as well. It's a 5-on-3 in favor of PartyParrots.
And fish123, they wall off ropes, and that was a great hold from PartyParrots. A lot of utility used, mind you, to not let them push forward, but that gives them the ability to control heaven. And now those shots coming in from above. It's Eccles that'll still make the difference, though, as he finds 2, looking to get that spike down. The rest of the defense really struggling, and unfortunately that box no longer shoot throughable. I don't even know if that's the correct phrasing there, but it's now a metal box, and the orbital strike, that might just seal the deal. And that'll be the round here for PartyParrots.
Yeah, there's no longer penetration through that box.
Penetration. Sure, there we go. There we go.
I'm sure
I need
every 12-year-old is giggling in chat because I said penetration, but penetration is the name of it. Penetration is the word. Penetration.
Just get it out of your system. Get it out of your system.
Listen, I'm a 33-year-old man, and even I giggle a little bit. 7 rounds coming in from PartyParrots as they're starting to convert here on the defense. Sure, they lost site control, so a spike plant was there. The concerning thing for this round, look at the number of ults currently available for fish123. Rolling Thunder, Showstopper, the Omen TP, and the Resurrection as well for the Sage. They don't have Neural Theft, so they can't hit that magic number 5. Look at this ult, though. I mean, this was perfect. Exactly where it needed to be. There was a small gap maybe in that back corner that you could have found safety in, but let's be real. We've seen players try to escape in those small gaps, and sometimes it's not as big as you think it is, and you end up getting taken out anyway. So it looks like we're going to see an A push. Would not be surprised to see that Rolling Thunder sent out from Scream as they start to push on towards the site. Xiao is back behind that smoke in heaven. They're a little bit late on the utility. SSK is here, but he's lost Angel, who is stuck looking at the iPad trying to dial in the smokes. It'll come down to SSK on the site, but there was only one player left remaining due to SSK's heroics. Xiao is there at the end with the judge to seal the deal. 3 players survive as the attempt to push onto that A site doesn't really work out so well. They don't use a single ult, though, so they still have all 4, and now they've hit that magic number 5. So they could theoretically use a few of those ults to gain site control or even hold down in the post plant.
Yeah, you can expect Scream. If I were to choose one of the ultimates that's likely going to be used, it's going to be the Rolling Thunder. It's a great way to push on towards the site, but considering how PartyParrots have been playing, in some cases that might not even work. They have a lot of utility that they spend to try to stop the push forward, and that might just be the ticket to having a great hold on Split. Often we'll see the push towards Heaven actually work out, you know, on towards that B site. You know, the defense will pull off, they'll give it a little bit more space, but now, a round or 2 ago, they were able to really hold it off. And so now, the push comes in, they gather the intel with the Omen ultimate, Showstopper as well, might not even actually end up finding anything, but does meet its mark onto Xiao. And so now the 4v5 spike going down, it's up to the PartyParrots to retake the site.
Again, we talked about it. A lot of skills, and there's the first one coming out, but it's actually from the defense. That's the Rolling Thunder. Do we see the counter Rolling Thunder? Yes, we do. It comes through from Scream, but it's actually not as effective because it only really takes care of the early part of Heaven.
Wow.
They're already on the site, but look at that. Just like that, they collapse. It was a bit of a retake on a site take. It was weird because they had 2 players playing back a little bit more in mid. So Scream goes for that ult pop, the Rolling Thunder, and they're effectively coming in from mid, sort of like a retake of the retake. And it allows fish123 to hit double digits, 10 rounds now. I would love to take a look at the money as much as you guys would. But obviously something we've talked about all tournament long. Currently, there is a bug on the scoreboard that only allows us to see one player from each team after the half swap. Riot is aware they're working on a fix. It should be fixed probably very soon. Fingers crossed, as we would love to see that credit build up. And not only that, we'd love to see what's going on the scoreboard. Who's performing and how well are they doing in this second half?
Good early shot from Dinks J in the match against G2. He had 5 first bloods to match Angel's 6. And we talked a little bit about in the early analyst desk how aggressive Angel can be, but Dinks J can be quite as aggressive. The operator might be the most difficult thing for now fish123 to push into, and so they'll find a pick onto SSK, or sorry, onto Artist, and now start to back away. That resurrection out of play for PartyParrots means that fish123 might have the ability to resurrect Scream back into the mix. He is, of course, an important factor in the success of fish123. Cryptic's going to be holding up the ramp to make sure it's a relatively easy resurrection. Wall going to be going up. So now it's back into the mix, and that showstopper does not meet its mark, but still somehow the judge will get the job done, and it's the blast pack that puts Xiao back up into heaven. It's the early rotate through. They don't expect this, but now they'll spot him out. Constantly moving around from position to position. There's 30 seconds left on the clock, and it's a difficult take forward. Still 2 members from PartyParrots back towards that B site, really giving a lot of respect. Dinks J finds a shot with the penetration. There's the word. Cyber Cage coming through. The classic won't get the job done, and Neural Theft gives all the information that they need, and they see Angel. He's coming in like a hot seeking missile, but Eccles will deal with him quite handily. And now down to the 1v3. SSK in a 1v many scenario, trying to clear out that corner there underneath the rafters, and now one shot will come through, but it's Cryptic with 3K on the round. 1 round away from match point, and a map that we thought PartyParrots was really going to turn up the heat. It's fish123 with the round lead.
Yeah, I mean, we anticipated this being honestly a 2-0 after that first map, especially given the history between even these 2 teams on the map. Quick shot coming out from Cryptics. Dinks J was there with the operator trying to slow down the push, but made the mistake of going elbow, and then the cyber cage comes down right on top of him. And at that point, you're like, how do I realistically hold this? Goes to the sidearm. The pistol's just not as powerful as it needs to be for him, so it doesn't work out so well. Dinks J this time on the Sheriff, peeks initially towards B main, tries to hit that early headshot, doesn't come through, so looked like for a second he might have considered a secondary peek, realizing not wanting to give away that advantage so early in the round to fish123 with the way that they've punished that in the past. He backs off into the site. Going to use a cam to just try and spot out anybody. No one currently there, at least not that far up. There are 2 currently sitting inside B main. They take out his cam in the end. The spike is currently down back in Ramen, or towards Ramen at least. You can see the leaps from Artist spotting out the players in mid. Finally, Dinks J will meet his demise as Scream's had enough of that Cypher play. This nade, oh, it's not good enough. Just like the ult in the last round, just barely clips the edge of the wall, and it disrupts the plan coming in from PartyParrots.
Now with that smoke down, Artist might see that there will be a couple of members pushing up through mid, still undecided on where they want to go, and Scream's telegraphing here of sticking around in B main might be that it's still the B push, and having a look at Artist, ooh, won't meet its mark with the Sheriff, and now the early rotate towards A. Scream just going to make that rotate over. Very difficult for the defense. Sees one starting to rotate through, and they'll think it's the B push, but Scream's just making it very difficult. SSK, though, with the Bucky, won't see anyone funnel in through heaven, and Angel, he's trying to hunt down Scream, and he will do so successfully. A battle of the top frags, and Angel will come out on top with the jumping Bucky. Now has a Phantom, is the last member standing, and it's a 1v4. Does not look like it's going to be very doable for Angel, but it's possible. Anything is possible.
Unlikely, incredibly unlikely. Angel would be lucky to survive, and that doesn't even end up happening. Link was waiting around the corner. 12 rounds now for fish123. 1 away from closing out this second map. Again, not exactly a map they typically find success on. They lost to NIP 13-3. Sure, you know, they've played other teams and found success, but that was a little while ago as well. The last time they played Split within the last month or 2 was against PartyParrots in the ePulse Valorant Prodigies event. They lost 13-3. seems to be a recurring theme of that scoreline, 13-3, 13-3. So at this point, PartyParrots has to hope they can force things to overtime. We'll see if they're even able to do that. Fish123 has looked great thus far. And you can see PartyParrots looks a little bit frazzled. They're going for these aggressive plays, and that's an early advantage coming in for Fish123 as Xiao tries to force the fight forwards on the A site and now has weakened that A site defense, and they have to rotate one all the way over. So Angel's going to have to rotate over from that B site to try to support.
Not looking good here for the PartyParrots, but they still have a resurrection if they want to get involved, or if another member falls. We'll see how the hold starts to come through. Looking at DinxJ's camera, and I quite like it, has an angle towards the entryway towards the site, and of course the ramp as well. So allows Angel to play a little bit more aggressively if he wants to swing left or swing right. The information will come from DinxJ, but unfortunately, there may be too many members that start to flood in. It's the Rolling Thunder that'll give us a little bit more information, but it's just the delay over towards that B site. But it'll actually call Angel to pull over, and a read on the orbital strike. They'll start to funnel in through the cage, and it's just a spray down from DinxJ, but the clip starts to fall empty. Angel from above will find two, and it's starting to fall apart here for Fish123. It'll be the 3v1 for Scream as he's the last member standing, spike behind enemy lines, and PartyParrots looks like they will keep their dream alive with 12-9.
It was something I meant to mention. Yeah, they still had the orbital strike. So there was still something to fall back on here. Scream will do at least a little damage. Yeah, you don't want to see this happen. With the scoreline this close, you can't afford to be losing that many bodies at the end of a round you've already won. We'll see how it impacts the money. You can see Xiao's at 23 and 18, and it doesn't have enough cash to buy. The other top performer, 21 and 12. This is the bug we've talked about. It only shows you the top fragger from both teams. It is unfortunate, but hopefully it'll be fixed very soon. It was a great hold over on A, but this ended up costing them so much. Those last two kills coming in, inconsequential really to Fish123 outside of the money. So now the buy is going to be much weaker potentially for PartyParrots. You can see the Sage slow orb coming down right off the rip in mid. A bulk of the bodies right now for Fish123 sitting back in mid, and one more joining them. That's the Cypher coming through from sewers.
Like we said, not everyone really has the weaponry to tango here for the side of the PartyParrots. Judge there for Xiao, looking to keep it close. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the greatest angle as Artist gets a face full of lead from Eccles. The operator shot will sing, and it'll meet its mark. One down here. Now the 4v5. They were down last round, but they had weapons to really contend against Fish123. Not going to be the case this time around, and so we thought it would be a great defensive side here for PartyParrots, but it's proven to be quite difficult as Fish123 will find another with Scream. Now it's going to be looking like the execute here, as there are only two more members near and around the site. Judge not going to work out here for Xiao, and it's already down to the last and final player. It's SSK in a 1v5. Bach, I have a feeling we're going to map number 3.
Yeah, it seems incredibly unlikely that SSK will be able to do anything to prevent this one. 22 seconds left, and the spike gets planted. It's a 1-on-5 retake. Absolutely fantastic performance on split coming in from Fish123. SSK gets tagged through the box by the operator, and down he goes in the end, 13-9. Fish123. We may have counted them out coming into this second map, but they prove us wrong. They'll be taking things to map number 3. A surprising victory coming out here. So now we move over to Ascent, which is a much different ball game than what we just saw on Split. You know, I honestly really didn't think we were going to get here, but we did.
Yeah. At that point, you think it's a clean 2-0, but it seems like it's just kind of going back and forth. Fish123 able to take the map that PartyParrots feel comfortable on, and vice versa. But now that's all thrown out the window. The map comfort picks are gone. Of course, PartyParrots still comfortable on Ascent. They took G2 to overtime yesterday. But on the opposite side, I'm not quite sure how comfortable Fish123 might be on Ascent, and I'll let the analysts kind of chime in and give us a little bit more information.
Wow, I'm about to ask a question, Bok. Have you got any sunglasses nearby? Because I've got some beautiful WePlay branded sunglasses for you to all to be jealous of going into this next segment, which I think only improves the look of me looking like some Vans shoes. So you can be jealous.
Tom,
of
I'll
those,
be
you know?
honest.
They got the.
I might
colours on
need
the
some
side.
sunglasses to deal with the glare off the top of the skull from the studio lights.
You know, it is bright in here, especially after the victory coming out from the Brits. I don't think many believed at this stage, especially after sort of how the first map went. We were sat there going, eek, that was their pick. They're in the lead. And even there for a moment, even when they took the lead sort of 9-5, I was looking at it going, a few rounds started to slip back. I was like, no, not again, not again. I can't cope with it again. Either way.
Yeah, I'm a little lost for words there because statistically, PartyParrots should have come out with the win there. And once we got to that defender side, I was really waiting for them to come online, but the economy really just never favored them. I think they forced up maybe just way too much. But at the end of the day, it'll be fish123 with the win.
Bye, casters. Bunk's staying for a little bit longer.
No, wait, no. Help.
Oh, their time has come.
Something I want to mention, Mitch, is the fact that we actually had a change. We had a change for the agents actually picked by the side of Fish. Do you wanna elaborate a little bit more on that one?
Yeah, Soulcast. He actually changed it up a little bit, took the Raze. I'm a big fan of the Cypher Raze A-hold. I think that's something that a lot of teams have shown a lot of success with, and it's nice to see that they went in for a little bit more confidence. Last time we saw them play on this map versus PartyParrots, Soulcast didn't really get anything done on the Sova. I feel like that early information, especially back then, I think the billboard was broken back in ePulse. So you used to be able to put the Sova recon dart on the back of the billboard at the A site, and it would spot anybody through it. So that was an easy information gathering because it was a clipping issue. That's no longer the case. So Sova on this map, he serves a purpose. Is he viable? Yes, he works. But I prefer Raze. I think it's just so choke pointy that you can use it massively. Now, usually I prefer the Raze to be towards middle, but for that early round, if you're going to be lobbing your nade in towards the outer A-hole to allow a little bit of aggression, that's just fine. And like we said, we wanted to see a little bit more variance from them. I'm still waiting though, Tom. I'm waiting to see Scream get back on the Reyna. He was doing really well there in the first half. When it came down to the breach play, when they were up 6-3, he was on, I think, 10 or 12 kills. Absolutely loved watching him. I want to see it happen with Arena so we can see Scream, the duelist, playing a duelist.
I do wonder, though, if it could be more of an aspect of there's some characters I feel like you play for fun, and maybe he just doesn't want to play it within a competitive aspect of the game. Like, of course, we talk about the scenes where we have seen him. It's mainly been in mixed teams. It hasn't been something that he's brought in too much within the actual competitive pool. So it is possible that although we sort of say, oh, he's comfortable on it, it's actually quite hard to read into whether or not he is.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair enough. I mean, when you move into this tournament, it was the first time we saw him recently sway away from it. But yeah, when he's on the likes of Prodigy, he's playing in towards the Reyna, doing a lot of damage. But like you said, maybe that's when you're coming into a team that has a dedicated coach, maybe he doesn't like that. He prefers something that has that little bit more utility. Now, we do see players that are able to play a very supportive role when it comes down to Reyna. I think it was Hip that transitioned actually from a breach to a Reyna support. Just because those flashes with the orbs can play out very similarly to breaches. But obviously, when we saw it even in that game, the ability, the ultimate, the flashes, the aftershock, everything together, and the stun itself can play a massive role in giving your team a round-to-round advantage in fights when they're entering in.
Yeah, for sure. Now moving slightly back into what we actually saw in the match, obviously, I think that defense half initially was a lot closer. Like, in fact, the final round of it even being won with a thrifty buy. Like, we've seen those shotguns really coming into play. The other thing I want to mention as well is Cryptics, because we sort of talk about the Cypher being almost a supportive player. Like, yeah, we always talk about, I think Hypox said it quite a few times yourself even, that you never really get much love as a Cypher. Like, you're playing that site hold, you're being really defensive. Well, I kind of want to challenge that now, because the way that we were seeing the entry fragging Cypher in the second half with just sheer aggressive plays, like it felt like a much looser style actually coming out. I think Soulcast as well in one round basically just used the showstopper to actually open up. I feel like that's a side of Fish that we really haven't seen so far in this tournament, where they almost unleashed the fragging power of some of these individual players, and that's where they were lacking. That's where we sort of criticized them quite heavily, is the defense. Sure, you've been doing a great job. This map, their defense wasn't even that great. Their offense, though, that was something to get excited about.
You know, when you look at how Cypher plays into the late stage of a round, you can use him if you still have the abilities up, sure, but the majority of the time, if you're using him to lock down some of the back end, like, well, let's put it this way, of all the agents that they have, he is the least useful on the attack. He's more of a defensive agent. Yes, you can use him on the attack. You can lock down flanks. You can cut off vision. You can do a lot, but the vast majority of these agents, you look to your Omen, your Raze, your Breach, your Sage, all far more useful. So, yeah, I think an entry fragging Cypher is a very viable agent, if not probably the one I would expect to want to put his life on the line, unlike what we see from the likes of an Angel going in on a Brimstone. And yeah, it was really nice to see. But the thing is, there's different approaches for different players. The way Dinks plays a Cypher is very different to Cryptic's, much less aggressive, much less based around dueling, more so based on actually securing the map control. He's consistently going to be the one watching for flanks, using up his utility to lock that part of the map down, whereas Cryptic's is the one that's diving on the grenade for the team so they can run over his body.
Yeah, I think something else I noticed as well was that in a sense, because of the level of aggression we saw on the attacking side coming out from PartyParrots, there had to be a few different adaptations coming out from fish123. Like, even again, like looking towards that latter round, there was that moment where you almost just see them playing around the ropes, because Angel's so fast up mid, you almost had to play in a way that didn't just allow him to entry frag you. And then we saw the same on the other side as well, where it was Eccles was able to get some very good angles, actually peeking all the way almost into heaven, just with how much control they were to get over to middle. Now, comparing that to what we saw from G2 with Artis and Mixwell, they were almost taking mid for the defense side, and that kind of ended the game for their opposition. Is there a world where you see either of these teams making the same sort of play? Because they were far more passive in their hold of mid.
I really don't know what the approach is like when you move game to game, but with these particular teams, I sort of expected, especially when Solkas took out a Raze, that there would be that very aggressive mid stance. That's why I was a little surprised to see him move towards the A side. But on a map like Split, it's incredibly important to take middle control. It's something we highlighted when we were talking about it previously, is like some of the downfalls of G2's opponents was Artis and Mixwell consistently grabbing middle control. Now, when you look at Ascent, I don't think we'll see nearly the same thing there from even the likes of a G2. Yeah, if you're feeling confident, you'll go in, you'll try to find an operator pick, but it's not like on the other maps where you're trying to find the pick so you control that part of the map. It's more so you're going in for the pick so they have one less player, just because the early stages of middle on Ascent do basically nothing for you.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be, well, I suppose we can almost transition into that sort of world now where we end up on this map of Ascent, a map which I don't think either team is going to be particularly happy with how they've played so far. Like we did see a victory at least come out for fish123 when they went onto this map. But again, that was against Prodigy. And even then, I feel like from what we've seen from Prodigy after and even before that, it was questionable that was even that close. Like, I think it was a 13-9 scoreline. I think we expected a little bit more from Fish, considering they were choosing that map. And on the other side of things, again, like, you can go PartyParrots, you were 10-2 down. Now, granted, you got it to overtime. That's massively impressive. Like, again, we talk about the resilience of this team, the fact that you can never give them anything, the fact that the leadership of Angel is something that you pretty much can never like doubt at any moment. The question is, though, have they managed to fix some of the issues that they evidently had on the attacking side? So basically what I'm trying to say is going into this match, is there either team that you kind of favor now, being that the fact that it's been kind of questionable from both teams?
It's a pretty rough one, right? PartyParrots have played a lot of this map. They've never really won against the decent level teams. I think the last win they had that was respectable was up against Royals. Before that, since then, it's been losing to G2 consistently, to Fabric consistently. Those are pretty good teams. But I think I have to favor PartyParrots just because they've played it the most. They've got the most experience on this map, whereas fish123 have only pulled it out twice. One was versus a mixed team, as you said. Prodigy wasn't the best of teams to be playing against. And the NIP game, they got basically dismantled. Now, they've obviously done the preparation because they picked it versus NIP. But at the same time, you know, you can pick your poison, really. They ended up losing, and they had a really, really bad attacking side.
Yeah, I think that's been the main problem for Fish in general, is that their attack has been the weaker of the two. I'm happy that we went into a split match and actually watched them play well on the attacking side, because even going into the last map, like you talk about how their attacking side was lackluster and how they got shut down a lot by the counter aggression that came out against them, and that's something else I think we need to sort of talk about when it comes to this map. Is so far we've seen some very different styles, very different opinions, I guess you could say, on how you actually play this map. Like, there's been some very, very passive holds of the B side with a rotational player almost ending up through the spawn. You've had the no Penky style where you were running up mid. Even Scream did that a couple of times as well, just basically going, I've had enough, I'm going to take the fight through. You then have almost passive operator players for like Eccles, who was just waiting back for people to peek him. Then you had teams who would play this differently in terms of their A side, with challengers going in all the way to A long, whereas you had SSK who just sat on the site and waited patiently and utilized his utility very, very well. So is there a right way to play this map at the moment, or are we still just going to be seeing this flux, these aggressive plays, these attempts taken throughout this map?
Well, look, with how early it is in Ascent's lifetime, I think it's definitely I'm happy to be challenged on pretty much any new way of playing this map. I think that they're all quite viable at this point. But when I look towards a setup that works, the one thing that stands out to me is having your Cypher over towards the A site. I don't think he brings as much value to B. It is a single choke point with passive mid control possible. You can pretty much hold that down with the Sage and one player playing around a connector mid. Cypher over on the A site, though, you're far more frequently going to lose short than you will top mid. It opens up many more angles for you to play because there's obviously upper. There's the window that they can break through to come up behind you. And so I like to see him over there. With the exception of that, I think I'm happy to take any team's interpretation on how to play it until something really emerges as the go-to.
Well, it seems like my phone might be ringing, so I think there's going to be someone on the other end. Another bald caster, I hope. Hello, Bok? Bok, is that you?
No, it is. It's Emo. I've got a little bit more hair. We got a cat though. Unfortunately, not happy to be in my hands right now, having a quick look at me. But I think the hands of the victor will be quite happy moving on to, of course, the semifinals. Unfortunately, of course, the lower seed. But this is going to be an important one. We just saw the knife round. It is, of course, going to be PartyParrots that win side selection. And I think that might be the ticket to their victory. But we'll have to see how they decide to execute, because I'm pretty certain they'll pick defense to kick us off. Bach, no, the mic, no.
Listen, normally I don't mute my mic. I just don't talk. But that time I muted it because there was stuff going on in the background, and I was like, I kind of want to talk about this, and I'm afraid I'll try to, even though I know I'm supposed to be muted. So I did it anyway to be safe. It's my fault. Anyway, again, Ascent is one of those maps that we don't really know, to be fair, if it's attack-sided or defense-sided. And I'm sure everyone in chat is going to give their opinion along with which game is better, Counter-Strike or Valorant, and it's going to go on for like the first 11 rounds, maybe the whole game. But ultimately, I feel like the sample size we've gotten of Ascent so far just doesn't tell us enough. And on top of that, maps play out differently in EU and NA, at least from what we've seen. So in NA, I feel like Ascent does skew more attack side sometimes. Whereas in the EU games we've seen, it feels like the defense has been the stronger side sometimes. It's really hard to know because I can't tell if it's just teams aren't as prepared on it. It's newer in the rotation. Maybe they're not playing it as much. But again, we talked about it yesterday. There's only 4 maps. You should play all of them.
Yeah. I was also looking forward to some of the agent selection if we put kind of the win rates aside and really think about how these teams want to play it out, and really not seeing too many adaptations in terms of anything new or different in Reyna. Definitely no Raze, which I find quite interesting. Sometimes you might see the Raze here. This time is just going to be something similar to what they played on Haven. And now with the B push in motion, fish123 looking to try to take it by storm, and so far it hasn't worked out for them quite yet. Angel will find one through the smoke, and still it's fish123 trying to inch forward, and they've got a kind of a weird crossfire setup. SSK gets in deep, and already have to point out that as Angel pushes in deep with the Brimstone rather, and now they're at a little bit of a standstill. Smoke's down, not really giving fish123 the opportunity to push in, and there are a couple of members here in the back of sight, so even if they make their way through, they'll be dealt with some resistance. But it's going to be Angel now pushing forward. As a look towards the fruit market, don't see anyone there quite yet. One going to be in the fish market and the other in the workshop. Still 20 seconds left on the clock, and they'll hightail it over towards A.
SSK in the B site with the Cypher there. Angel, who's swapped over to a different role, going to be now rotating across. Caught out by SSK, or not Angel, that was mislabeling there. That's my mistake. I was like, that wouldn't make much sense. Angel always plays the Brim. That was a little confusing there. Scream hitting great shots in here as the breach. That's just what Scream does. Finds 4 on the round for the side of fish123. They do end up taking the site. I gotta stop reading the labels. That's on me.
Yeah, I actually made the same mistake. I was like, SSK, he's going wild. He finds the frag, and no, it is in fact Angel, of course, and something that we expect.
Fixed it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We're already, the wheels are on the ground, and we're moving along.
I'm curious to see where this dart goes that Solkis is lining up. We've seen actually some really awesome Sova darts from inside the A site. So what you can do is, we saw, I'm trying to remember who did it. They slow orb and nade on long, and then there's 2 shock darts sent out from basically generator on the A site. So either you sit there and you eat the nade damage, or you back off and 2 shock darts land right on top of you. We saw it work twice. It's a pretty cool strat. Obviously, it costs a lot of utility early on for an advantage, but in the early parts of a game, like in, say, maybe like a pistol round or the round that follows, maybe even the first buy round, that could be huge because you're not going to have the res available, and maybe the money isn't perfect, so it's a great way to get yourself a leg up without having to take a direct firefight with weaponry. Speaking of weaponry, PartyParrots working with pistols and shotguns. It should be somewhat simple of a round coming in from fish123. They've already made their way up short, and they're starting to come through the door. The pistol from Artist gets a little out of control. SSK is still here. And they're starting to move back, though, and they're going to be heading over to that B site. That should have actually been not SSK. That was Angel as the brand. Excuse me.
So far, I quite like what has transpired in the round here for fish123. Of course, it is pistols, but they had a little bit of an engagement towards Catwalk. Scream is going to find 3 on the round. Weapons will get picked up, likely by the defense, but unfortunately, it's only 2 that'll fall from the attack. But that was a very interesting push. They had an engagement towards Catwalk, trying to push in towards A. But there was 2 or 3 in the middle for fish123 the entire time. And once things started to get a little bit chaotic, they all pushed in at the same time. And that seems to be the name of the game for fish123. They really like to create a lot of chaos and send mixed signals towards their opponents. You know, where are we going to be? Where's the push in? We even saw that on Split in one of the last and final rounds. Scream using the Rolling Thunder towards B, and it's the entire team pushing A. And so likely going to continue on that same trend, keeping their opponent guessing. But now with the weapons online for the PartyParrots, let's see how they're able to hold what looks like an A site push.
You know, I got a little excited in the knife round because we saw the Jet play, and I was like, oh, please tell me we're going to see a Jet here, because we haven't really seen much Jet play. And even though that's an agent I thought was somewhat trash early on, as I was like, I just don't feel like it fits into the competitive meta, I've changed my tune. Here, we'll see them get access to the A site, somewhat unencumbered, as the defense doesn't really do much to prevent it. Eccles will be the first one to spill some blood. And that'll be Angel, who's now watching for the rest of the round. A lot of the attack currently on the other side of Long. There's 2 currently in Hell, and they're going to start working their way in. There's the ult getting popped. That sends one up into the sky, but the retake continues to come through. Solkas here with the recon dart from inside Hell. The dart gets destroyed almost instantly. They're still trying to make their way out. The players on Long setting up a crossfire with the player in sight. It's come down to a 2-on-2 regardless, and now it's just Scream going for that peak. It's going to be Eccles against the Sova, and Shao as the Sova finding a third on the round. PartyParrots narrowly survive as Shao swaps off the Raze to play the Sova and converts in the first full buy round.
That's what I call great crosshair placement. Even the grumpy cat to follow up. I would definitely feel grumpy if I just got domed like that through the smoke. Good stuff there coming out from PartyParrots, and they'll keep that momentum going, but that momentum will likely come to a halt for both teams as the economy in a very difficult spot. It's going to be the force up for both sides, and whoever wins the round will be the victor of the economy, and that'll start to go to their side. So if fish123 are able to squeeze this one out, really expect a great attacker side from them, because those rounds are going to start to lay on, and this is supposedly a defender-sided map in Europe, and so things might get really scary for PartyParrots fast. And we saw on Split, a map that they're comfortable on, how fish123 were able to make ends meet on some early rounds and really keep that momentum going.
I have retrieved the spike.
Here's the crazy thing. This is only the first series. There's another game after this. The first series for us.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of wild. I keep forgetting that the show continues on after this one. This match has already delivered so many exciting moments. A back and forth battle that's pushed us to this third map, but there's still more to come. Curious to see who's going to be moving on from this series into the playoffs tomorrow. We find ourselves at that early 2-1 scoreline in favor of fish123. Artist going to go ahead and throw that wall up, and they're instantly going to chisel away at that ice. A slow orb comes down. There's the dart through the wall. The ult being popped by Shao. The Hunter's Fury working out quite nicely there as Link gets dropped after 2 quick shots. A nice dodge on the Aldrone by Artist to make sure they don't get spotted. But the attack still has not made it out of B-Tons.
I like that pull away. They had the recon bolt in the fish market, and their backs turned, of course, give them the information that it might not be the B-take, but a couple of shots might now start to pull those members back that originally left. Eccles pushing up aggressively through Pizza, grabbing a quick slice first, but there's 13 seconds left on the clock. They need to push in aggressively. Scream with one, Angel with the trade. It's still Artist in the back of sight, and they weren't able to clear it out, but he can't find the shot. Angel with the cross makes ends meet. Cryptics, though, right in front, right behind, finds 2, but can't get the spike down. And now the last member alive, shots around the corner. SSK, he wants none of that and backs away. So we're tied up now. It's 2-2, but still the economy kind of a little bit lopsided. However, it is PartyParrots that are starting to develop a little bit of a lead.
Echoes of map 1. If you remember, towards the tail end of map 1, fish123 struggled to find site control. And in fact, in the very last round, the round they lost that ultimately saw them lose that first map, they went for like a 15-second A execute when there was a Brim ult available. And ultimately, they lost the round as a result. Almost playing a little bit too slow, a little bit too cautious. fish123, gonna need to pick up the pace just a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to just run into sites. You want to try and bleed out utility. You want to try and figure out what it is the defense is doing. But if they take too long, they just give too much time over to the defense. I like the flash peek coming out from Angel. Overstays his welcome as the pistol's present. And yikes, that flash is right on the money. But Angel just sitting still, or the breach, excuse me, just sitting still. Not worrying about it. That's SSK.
Really breach charge there from SSK, and unfortunately it won't work out. Resurrection puts it back to the 5v4 in a round that seems to be kind of giving the ability PartyParrots to have a little bit of a successful round, considering how the buy looks for the side of fish123. It's starting to really fall apart here. Ultimate into the defender spawn gives information that Shao's playing relatively close. Give a little bit more information on take for them. Already the push in from Eccles, but he's only got a ghost, so he can't really get the job done. And as a result, the information from all of the utility used on the B site will cause them to pull over. But we've seen this before. fish123 taking so much time to get that spike down. If Dinkshay just looks over, actually, no, he can't. That's behind the generator. So that spike will go down. And now here comes the retake. It's a 3v5, going to be a difficult site to push in on.
Revealing area.
Dart coming out towards the site to try to give away position. They know there's some in hell. There's guaranteed to be a few bodies there. The Dart up top doesn't necessarily give away position of Dinkshay. His team does take it out. There's the cam giving them the intel, spotting out the players and where they might be. The Bulldog just can't be accurate enough to squeeze a bullet over that wood. And Scream has jumped up top into heaven. You can see the rest of the defense is like, dude, we're done. See ya. Like, you're on your own. So isolated and alone he was on the site. fish123 able to take that A site control and keep control of it with all 5 players surviving. A flawless round victory coming in from the attack. Or so we thought. Solkas thought he could get away from the spike, but ends up dropping to it in the end.
So having a look back towards the match that PartyParrots had against G2 on Split, PartyParrots had a really good defender side against G2. In fact, G2 were only able to squeeze out 3 rounds on their attacker side. And for the side of PartyParrots, things are already starting to not look like it's going to be that case. It's very, very close. And what that might tell me is that fish123, while a rough first map, have really started to wake up and are showing, maybe how you said earlier on, showing us the strats and saving them for the major. Well, this might be the major that they want to show those strats. And so things are really starting to come alive for fish123.
Shao sitting back as the Sova. You know, this is something we've seen in NA, that sort of theory crafting, and we've seen teams actually put it into play. The Sageless meta on Ascent. Not going to see it here, but I was curious to see if either of these teams were going to take more of a gamble or a role change. I am a little bit disappointed at the lack of Omen. Omen on Ascent is so incredibly good because of how many choke points there are. You can use that paranoia in so many spots. Omen definitely very powerful. I like the adjustment from fish123 to bring the Omen into play. But again, it's just the way they play. Eccles always plays the Omen. So, I don't know. I wish that maybe Angel would have switched off the Brim to the Omen for this map. We'll see if it makes a difference. There's the ult coming through from that man himself. Shao's going to pick off 2 as they get stuck on the ice, trying to escape the orbital strike. They're clawing their way through that slow. And as they escape it, they run right into his crosshair. Shao's not going to get any more on the site. Angel's only going to convert on 1. A 2-on-2 where they lose site control. Eccles goes down to SSK, who's playing as the Breach. The ult gets popped, but it's just too late. And in fact, Solkas escapes the last wave of that Rolling Thunder. So now he's made it into the U-house in the back of site, waiting for the push to come through. He's in the muck. He hears them coming up lane. First one will be his. He's got a recon dart going down as well. Goes for the swing, beating with the recon dart. Well played from Solkas there in the 1v2.
Yeah, that was a round that PartyParrots, they had it in the bag and they really fumbled it. And for fish123, they're starting a 2-round lead on a defender-sided map. I just have a feeling that PartyParrots really lost steam after Haven. Yeah, they kept it close on Split, but that was a map that they chose. That was a map that they showed that they could take G2, the team, you know, arguably the favorites for the tournament. And for the side of fish123, maybe yesterday just wasn't their day. Maybe they have the opportunity on a day like today to take NIP, but you know, we'll have to see as potentially one of these teams going to be moving forward towards the semifinals. Something that we've echoed time and time again, but one of these teams is going home, and that is just crazy to think about how highly skilled they are.
I love that shock dart to open up the round there, coming in from fish123. Dinkshay has to move, otherwise he would have been taken down. Delays as long as he can, goes to the peak, takes significant damage. His teammate tries to help defend. Angel will ultimately lose that battle against another Counter-Strike god tier player with a lot of history, Scream himself. It's a 5-on-4, fish123 with the scoreboard advantage and the player advantage coming into the 7th round. 50 seconds left on the clock. They're starting to scoop up some control of mid, moving up towards Pizza. There's no one in market currently, so they're able to get past pretty easily.
we're seeing now potential fake towards B, and I like this play that fish123 have cooked up time and time again. We are seeing Eccles commit quite deeply towards this push, and on the opposite side, it's the rest of fish123 funneling in one at a time, ever so safely on towards that A site. The only person, of course, that'll hear this plan is SSK on the opposite side with the Bucky. Link gonna make the transition over very difficult. Xiao gonna be the first line of contact, and unfortunately caught looking in the wrong direction. Link will be now out of commission, down to the 3v3. Resurrection available, and as a result, SSK will be brought back into the mix. So now the 4v3, a very doable retake, but it's the red carpet that's rolled out for the PartyParrots as they'll now start to make their way onto the site. Solka's taken dangerously low, but it's Dinkshay that is taken out for the overzealous push on Heaven. And now Scream lining up a great shot, but unfortunately will meet his demise by the Bucky. And now the Hunter's Fury makes Cryptix' spot here in the bottom very difficult, but he holds on, and it's 2 frags for him. Still the spike is ticking down, but he needs to hightail it out of there. Down to the 1v1. Artist might look to have a little bit more control towards the catwalk, but just at the edge of the spike, Cryptix is fallen. But that was a great hold from fish123.
Fish123 continue to impress here in this first half. Again, we weren't really sure what to expect coming to Ascent because we honestly didn't think we were going to get here. Fish123 lost the first map, which was Haven, a map that they've had a great run on in this tournament alone. And then we moved over to Split, a map that is PartyParrots' potentially best map. Ascent also on that list. They seem to play well on the less than conventional maps like Split, like Ascent, and then I think Bind is probably up there as well as one of their better maps. So that's why it was so surprising to see Haven as a win coming in from PartyParrots, and that's why we thought, okay, this is going to be a potential 2-0. But Fish123 have kept themselves alive. And with 1:15 on the clock, we haven't really seen much action as of yet. That last round may have cost them quite a bit, but there was plenty of money left in the reserve for the full buy for Fish123.
Similar to their strategies prior, it's the attack really divide and conquering, and really that's kind of a 50-50 call. You see these two members, Scream and Cryptix, pushing up towards the fish market. What if they fall? Then it's the 3v5. But we haven't really seen these little half pushes go awry for them quite yet. They've been quite successful in their distraction abilities. Eccles, of course, previous round, he was distracting towards B. He ended up falling, but there was 3 that were just easily able to push over towards that A site. But now you're seeing the reverse. It's Eccles, and it is, of course, Solkis on the opposite side. Eccles is going to fall from playing a little bit too forward, but that's what we've seen. And now there's only 1 towards B. They'll push in together. Artist is walled off here in the hut, and now they'll start to funnel in. Won't even trade there. It's Xiao that has to find that frag. Wall going to be going up on the opposite side, and they'll have control of the B site.
So here's the problem right now. This again is another late round execute. They'll take down the other piece in the site, but not the spike planter. So Cryptix goes back behind double stack. Now the retake is underway here, but Soulcast has actually managed to come back and join up with Link. Both players in a similar position. As the spike continues to tick down, the retake underway. First one's going to be Link's to make it a follow-up as well onto Xiao. There's one more. The recon dart potentially going to give away the position of the last player. Pulse goes down, and now the shots can start pouring through that wall. It's oh so porous. So it will be PartyParrots losing another, despite the late round execute coming in from Fish123. This is something we've criticized them on a little bit, taking a little bit too long sometimes to get into sight. Reminding me of Navi in the earlier days of Counter-Strike, going down to those 20-second executes onto a site. It can be easily punished if you don't find those openings, or someone hits you with a slow orb, which is exactly what happened. Artist walled off lane and then had his slow orb go down. That could have been incredibly problematic for Fish123. Luckily, they were able to fight their way out of it and managed to just somehow barely survive enough to get that spike plant.
And now they've got the 4-round lead. There's only 4 rounds that remain, including this one and a half, and it'll be moving on to a side that is quite favorable for Fish123. So already, PartyParrots, they need to really figure things out and figure things out fast, because it is impossible to have a round lead now for PartyParrots. The best possible scenario is, of course, 6-6, and even then, you might see them start to struggle when they switch over to attack. But there's not a whole lot that we know in how these two teams. There isn't a lot of history between them, And so maybe PartyParrots has some strategies. Maybe they have some avenues out, but on a map like Split that was theirs and Defender sided, they really did not have the greatest time. And so they need to figure things out quickly.
I mean, here's the thing. Fish123 has really only played Ascent a few times in recent history. Both of them were in this event. And they won one, lost one. They lost to NIP, and they beat Prodigy, which I don't know if you can really count that as a major win because Prodigy came into this one playing with their manager effectively, a new roster. It wasn't really working out. Whereas Partyparrots obviously had that impressive game against G2, taking them to overtime and winning 14-12. So, or losing, excuse me, 14-12. So, you know, they had a great game. We know what to expect from them historically as well. They seem to play okay on the map. Not great, but okay. But as I say that, they're just getting slaughtered right now. Fish123 looks really good on the attack, and they managed to again gain control of this B site, which typically is the harder of the two to get into. But once you're in it, way easier to hold. So the two remaining members of PartyParrots have their work cut out for them here in the retake.
Yeah, it's 2v3, still doable, of course, but can be quite difficult knowing now that they're going to be pushing it together. If one goes down, you might get the trade, but there's still two remaining in the back corner of the site. They decide to just pull off and keep their weapons. And quite honestly, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel confident pushing in, better be safe than sorry. But quite honestly, we saw this in Forza, how almost every single round that didn't go their way, they started to save. And really that they started to bleed rounds left and right as a result. And that can really just in turn lose you the game. Like, when are you going to start not saving and start actually pushing forward? Now, mind you, this is one of the first few times that we've seen PartyParrots save rather than go for the attempt. And quite honestly, maybe they just don't want to risk losing this opportunity to go to the semifinal. Maybe they just want to keep their dreams alive, and no harm, no foul, but they only have 2 rounds on the board, and it's a 5-round lead here for Fish123.
I mean, what happens in any scenario where you have two teams that don't play a map a whole lot or have limited experience on it at like a high level of competitive play? It usually boils down to whoever has the best aim, which, let's be fair, Scream is notorious for that. And that's probably why Scream is in position at the top of the scoreboard. 16-6. I mean, that's crazy good coming in from Scream currently. And on top of that, as much as I'm saying like, oh, we don't know what to expect, these teams, it should be a mechanical skill battle, that's not to be the case necessarily for Fish123. Even though Scream is top of the scoreboard, I like their executes. I just feel like they take a long time to make them happen. They're going to be going a little bit quicker this time around. Dinks J in the back of sight, hoping for some support. SSK using that dart to try and spot one out, and does. The orbital strike's going to come through as well. A nice stop on the initial push. Dinks J getting one more even onto the Sage, who was stuck on the other side of the wall. The spike is down, and it's down inside the site. This should be around here for PartyParrots, one they desperately needed to pick up.
It seems like every time that PartyParrots have some sort of success, it's when Angel has an orbital strike available. They played around it so well. I mean, you either push forward and meet your demise, or you pull back and separate from your team and let them die. And that seems to be what happened there. Regardless if one fell, I don't quite actually recall if one fell by the orbital strike or not, but regardless, they pushed in and they were met with a whole slew of gunfire by the defense. And so, Scream trying to make it at least a little bit more expensive, but his alter ego SSK on the breach will be the one that takes him down, looking in towards the tree room. So an important round for PartyParrots to win, but as we are nearing the end of the first half, they need a lot more. Best possible scenario now, of course, 7-5, and I find that highly unlikely considering how Fish123 have been playing. Yes, they have slow executes, but they've been playing this little on a map not called Split, they've been playing this little split meta where they distract on one side and then they push towards another. And that information game, I said earlier, has a 50% chance of really going bad, but it hasn't really gone bad. Look at their round lead. They've got 4 rounds in a row, and this little split strategy has worked out quite well for them.
Yeah, I mean, they're baiting the rotates out currently from PartyParrots, forcing them to jump between different sides of the map by just putting some pressure on one side. As long as they see utility come in from 3 agents, that's enough to assume that that's the site of primary focus coming in from Fish123. I gotta say, though, I think chat's been being bad.
Why?
They've been put into timeout. It's emote mode only.
Oh,
What
no.
did you do?
Uh-oh.
I'm so disappointed, chat. We can do better. We can be better. Fish123 making their way towards the A site right now. They do have the Rolling Thunder. They've got the res. There's the Rolling Thunder to get them in. SSK's like, oh, shoot. Stuck behind the box. He's going to do the same. He's like, I got that too, but it doesn't matter. So Hookus actually already got the entries, and now you can see exactly what we were talking about. They're pulling the rotate over. They haven't even fully committed yet. Now they're just finally getting out on the site. The Aldrone's going to spot one heaven. They're realizing that this site is safe, so they'll use the neural theft, and they'll go ahead and get that spike down. Great take coming in from Fish123. Solid attempt from SSK to slow it down.
Like Xiao trying to find a couple of shots in through heaven. Of course, completely able to shoot through any part of it. It's the whole board that can be penetrated. Artist swings around from the tree room. We'll find Eccles, but it's a quick trade from Lincoln. Now down to 2v4. Going to be very difficult. The Scream will just take out Artist from behind, and now Dinkshay on the retreat, and rightfully so. He's got the operator in hand. But I think the next round is the last round, and so definitely want to save that weapon. Almost found Sulcus, but now that they know where he is, the hyenas, they smell that there's fresh meat on the platter, and Sulcus with a great jiggle peek to swing around the corner won't go his favor, but Link on the opposite side almost met his demise. Dinkshay, he's going to be taken out, and now that operator will not move on to the second round. Quite honestly, I don't think the defense even have enough to buy a new one, and so last possible round that we can look at the scoreboard. Bach, say your goodbyes, as this is the last round of the half.
Please stop showing me food. I'm hungry. It's not fair. I want to eat. Although I'm not necessarily as enticed by the meats. It's the cheeses currently that are hitting the craving spot. 8-3, Fish123 having a fantastic half on this attack side. A half that honestly reminds us more of NA play when it comes to Ascent. A lot of attack-sided halves on Ascent when you look at some of the matches we've seen in the past. But again, some matches, it's just so weird how things go down. There's the slow orb coming in. Xiao crushing the push from the market. It's going to peek for more. Tries to put a recon dart down, taken out by Eccles. But it's all up to Eccles here, the last man standing. Where was this so many rounds ago? Yeah. This style of defense. It feels like every once in a while we get a round like this. But for the most part, it's been the side of Fish123 who's just been in control. So this is honestly the outlier coming in from PartyParrots.
Yeah, they were just able to hold that so well. And I mean, quite honestly, we saw that. Wait, did he not see SSK? There we go. There we go. Close. Almost had it there. We saw how Artist played towards that B side. Every single time that they pushed, he put up a wall, he put up the orb. But there's only so much you can do, especially when the rest of your team are a little bit spread out. And I mean, rightfully so. It's a map. You got to defend all fronts as possible. But I just think Fish123 have done a great job on the attacker side, fishing out for information, denying information with the utility that they have, and then based on all of the above, able to decide, okay, we can funnel through mid, or we can just push B through the fish market, or we can just 5-stack from A long and really get the job done. And so whatever it may be, Fish123 had an answer for the execute. But now that we swap, it is up to PartyParrots to start to play the catch-up game, and it starts with the pistol. If they are able to win this, the odds can start to slowly stack back to their favor, but it's going to be difficult to do so.
I mean, it's been mostly the Xiao show for PartyParrots. He's moving up short, narrowly dodges that paranoia. Not sure how that didn't hit. It looked like it was right on the money. I thought it was paranoia. It could have been a dark cover, though, as I only saw it for a second come through. Flash from Scream, gonna push them back just a bit. They're gonna be heading on over towards the speed site potentially, where you've got Link here. He's gonna go ahead and wall off the door that was already up. That's huge, gonna slow things down significantly. There was a counter wall as well coming in from the attack over towards mid, so that gives additional time for these guys to get into position without having to worry about that cross shot coming through. Inside the site, only one working out nicely, but as I say that, they start to pile up. It's Scream finding two, make it 3 on the round. Just oh so good from those back stairs in the 1v1 against Angel. It's a 9th round for Fish123, and that's not what you wanted to see if you're a PartyParrots fan.
Yeah, that round feels bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. When you put Scream in a position to succeed, he will take every possible avenue to do so. You know, you meme about his one tap, but he's been a rock for his team. Having a quick look at some of those replays on the round, the defense were able to just come back in and really hold off the plant, not even getting that extra bonus credits from that spike being planted. So now PartyParrots, they force up. Angel with the Bulldog will find an early kill onto Scream, and a pretty important kill, might I add. He will usually be the difference maker, similar to how he was in that last round. And now things open up here a little bit for the PartyParrots.
Xiao taking out that dart that was sent towards mid. Angel. Back in spawn was holding for that the B push, excuse me. Right now it's gotten quiet after that early damage. Scream, not exactly the player you want dead in the early part of a round, but with a minute left, you can see Link is actually pushing through right now on B main. This is huge. They're starting to come up catwalk. If he can time this right, he might be able to get some of that intel. Eccles right around the corner, waiting for them to push through, has the paranoia. Can we talk about how strong Omen can be on this map? They are all blinded and flushed out of position. As they go for the peek, though, the blind wears off, and they're able to get that entry. So fish123 may have won the pistol, but the force buy right now working out well for PartyParrots. There's Cryptix in sight with just an SMG, and what is happening?
No.
It's clipping the edge of the box. Unable to connect the SMG. Took forever to find that kill, and now it's Link who pushed through on B main, but the site's already been lost. This is a difficult round to watch them lose.
You know, similar to how fish123, I think it was they forced up on the second half, on the second round. After PartyParrots, they won the pistol, and then fish123 really threw them for a loophole. Now PartyParrots, they're giving them a taste of their own medicine, and now it's just down to Link. He's got the Spectre and heavy armor, so quite the investment from him, and full utility across the board. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to pay off. Going to try to at least find one exit for his troubles, but now they'll start to funnel in. They really have no choice. SSK going to be now stuck between a rock, a spike, and a slow orb, but it's Link that'll find the headshot, but two Sages don't make a right. They will both explode with the spike, and now a round on the board for, I believe it was the PartyParrots.
It's PartyParrots,
Yeah.
You got stuck in your puns.
Yeah. I was. The train was moving, and then we pulled the emergency stop. But thankfully, we're back in motion.
It was a tough blow losing Scream early in that round. We mentioned it. He's been playing so well for them. I mean, we'd say that on most maps, but this map in particular, he's been playing great. Screamy 2 Dreamy right now for fish123. He'll be over towards Cat, and he'll probably have some players coming his direction. Sends that Tremor down towards the B connector in mid, where there is a dark cover out currently. Decides to back off. Because again, you can see this really passive approach right now to the defense. Scream and Omen, Eccles, they're in spawn. Part of that is because of what they've brought into this round. It's not like they have the greatest utility. They've got Solkus on the Judge, who's playing over in the Cubby. They're going to send that recon dart out. And this is a nice read from PartyParrots, understanding that this is a dangerous round to just wander in and try and take duels. Don't want to afford, or don't want to lose those guns, can't really afford it. And also don't want to allow an upgrade for one of these players on defense. So they're working their way slowly towards B. Artist going for the Jiggle Peek, hasn't spotted them initially. Nice dink shot coming out, though, onto Artist. So Link, great work to spot them initially. Goes for the slow orb, but there's actually no one coming in through the market as of yet. There's a late play coming in from that position by Angel, but the rest of the team is actually in B main.
Angel gonna be paranoid here. Thought he saw a couple of footsteps from Eccles, but it's the Sheriff that takes quite some time to come online, and swinging out to have a look towards the fountain will be greeted with hail of bullets from Xiao, and now they'll look towards that A site, but it's the read from fish123. They expect this Scream with the early one. They'll still start to funnel through, and it's the team that pushes together wins together, but Cryptix will be the wrench that is added to the plan. That spike gonna go down, but the rest of the defense now starting to push through. The shotgun not gonna do the job, but it's a wild round. Cryptix, though, will find the last and final frag. You saw there the hero play from Solkus. He tried to get a little bit athletic there, jumping off of the rafters with the Judge, but he gets shot out of the air. And Cryptix, thankfully, he was there to find the last and final few kills.
I feel like this has been a trend across this game thus far. Neither team likes losing the pistol, and they want to force in the round that follows. And then if they lose that one, they're going to force again. Like, they just keep forcing. It doesn't seem like either team wants to surrender over that additional round after losing into what should be a save. So we watch fish123 win the pistol, and then we see PartyParrots win the force buy. Then we see fish123 win the force buy. I'd imagine we'll probably see PartyParrots go for a force buy here. It's going to be a back and forth. It's dependent upon what the money looks like right now for PartyParrots, whether they can even afford to actually go for that level of force. SSK picks off Solkus, who went aggressive with Scream. There's still one over here, and he's stuck behind that box. Scream maybe wanted to go for it, but yeah, they do have some power behind the buy. You can see Xiao's on the Vandal. The door is going to get destroyed as Scream wants to move towards short and try and defend that territory, but it is a 3-on-3. At least there's some damage dealt to that Cypher, who's currently working up long, but Sage is still in play for both teams, so the heal is available for both sides. It's just a matter of whether or not they can connect the paths there for the Cypher and the Sage on the attack. Scream, putting that Bulldog up on his shoulder, actually ends up working with the Burst Fire onto Artist. Xiao there with a response. Again, it's the Xiao versus Scream 1v1 duel that consistently puts us in these scenarios.
Cryptic's going to be trying to flank from behind after that dueling has commenced. Cryptic's with the swing. And just like that, fish123, they're one round away from match point, and they're definitely making the PartyParrots work for it. And I'm going to assume that off of that force buy, they will not have the economy in the round to come. But having a look at some of these highlights, it seems that one of the main reasons why these rounds have been so back and forth is to these individual 1v1s that go one way or the other. And you talked about it, Xiao and Scream. It's been the battle of those two for some of these rounds, and in previous maps it's been Angel and Scream. And so really it's down to some of these early picks or early entries that decide how the round might go, but not always the case. See how fish123 are able to continue this momentum that they've built up.
Initially, my mind said fish123 would win this series. After watching map 1, I thought, okay, maybe not. But here we are. They're still in control in this. Echoes, despite taking out the cam, whips down with that crosshair on the Bulldog, no less, and makes it work. You're going to see the Brimstone ult popped by Angel, trying to clear out the tree room, but they've still got to contend with quite a bit of power here on the site, most specifically Scream. And as that tremor comes through, they decide to back off. Artist does have mid control, at least a little bit of it. That dart's going to sail up over his head, gives away the position of the Sova. But Artist taking his time currently in mid while the rest of the team comes forward. Again, Link pushes on B main. We've seen this a couple times already, where Link has managed to push through free and clear onto that T-spawn area just outside of the B connector in mid. The ult's going to get popped by SSK, actually sends Angel up into the sky, so he's going to be dazed and confused for the moment. Length with the Ares at distance, no less, taking out the Sage in Artist. Scream still in sight, able to find one before going down. Eccles picks off another, and it all falls onto one here. Back behind the default boxes, can't even get the spike secured. Xiao will get picked off by Link, who's upgraded from the Ares to a rifle. 12 rounds now on the board for fish123. They are ready to close things out here in map number 3.
And I got some bad news for you, Bach. That was the force up that we just witnessed from the PartyParrots. You're seeing now 1,900 credits across relatively the entire roster. So going to be a very broken buy for them. You talked a little bit about the battle of the force ups. Well, this may be the last and final force up for them, as they don't really have the best weapons to deal with fish123. And that's actually played somewhat of a factor. We've seen some of these rounds go over to fish123 with some broken weapons. Imagine what they're capable of when they've got everything that they need and everything that they want. So Angel, he's got himself a Guardian and no utility, only one smoke. I mean, I think he might have used some earlier smokes, but no Molly, no Stim Beacon, he's got nothing available, and some early shots not going to net him an early pick.
Shock dart right on the money. That's going to put Angel down on half HP. Has to burn the heal coming in from the Sage. Slow play right now. We're at a minute. And we haven't really seen too much action outside of that early damage. So, Where do they decide to go? They're going to grab that orb over in B. They have to be careful. Everyone knows that that recon dart with the Sova on the other side means that bullets are likely to pour through those paper-thin walls in B main in a moment. But it doesn't end up happening as they back out of position after grabbing orb control. Wall's going to go down on B main. The bulk of the bodies right now for PartyParrots is actually grouping up over towards A anyway. And we're going to see an ult here coming out from the Sova. You can see the pulses coming through from that Hunter's Fury. Actually takes care of one. Shao, though, going to have to move into the site to regroup with the rest of the team. It's down to a 3-on-3. Make that a 3-on-4 as the res comes through onto SSK. The Neural Theft popped as well to give away the positions. Down to just 12 seconds left in the round when they secure the spike.
Yeah, the heal comes in, the res comes in. They're looking to make this still competitive. They want to close things out now and sit comfortably and await their opponents tomorrow. Fish123 can get it done here. They're going to start their entry forward. Echo's going to be the first one that hops in. Artist will take him down. They know that there's a couple of members in hell, but they don't know that they're shooting in from below. Artist and Dinksjay will find two. Link, the last one standing, manages to get, I think, the frag from below. Or sorry, from above down below. And now the 1v3, not very looking likely for Fish123 here. Link just going to back away. Spike going to tick down, and SSK might be the last one that gets to escape. And he'll be seeing Link from a distance. Shots going to connect, and it's the 1v2 now that remains, and Link will save the weapon. With 1 HP, none other than 1 HP left. PartyParrots, they're still alive, but Bach, for how much longer?
Right, you got to ask yourself, how long can they tread water? That's ultimately what you need to ask yourself is can they keep themselves afloat and fight this game back? They were down 6-0 on Bind. Or not on Bind, on Haven. First map they played in the event. And they managed to make it a 6-6 half. So we know they're capable of doing that level of comeback to a certain degree. It's whether or not they can do it when they know their backs are against the ropes. That was just the first half. It was not a big deal. PartyParrots, they need to win 6 in a row to force overtime. Then they need to win 2 in a row to win the game and take the series to find that spot into the semifinals tomorrow. A brutal series thus far. It's gone back and forth at various points. PartyParrots took map 1, Fish123 took map 2. So both teams looking better on maps than we maybe anticipated them to. But it's been all Fish123, and you can see exactly why. This is the man. This is the reason. Scream has just been oh so good here on map number 3.
We see Eccles, he got it to the spot earlier on. Unfortunately, he will not find the shot, and I really thought that that would have been, you know, the nail in the coffin, but they still keep it competitive. Down to 2 now for the side of PartyParrots. It's the 2v4, no less, and they'll try to spray through, but it's the Hunter's Fury that is causing really a difficult push forward, as now they will finally commit, trying to close that door, but it might be broken before it is even done being closed. Artist, the last one standing. They're looking for the knife. Scream was the one hunting down, blade in hand, and it's Solkus. Fish123 will be the winners of the best of 3, and they will move on to the semifinals tomorrow. And unfortunately, PartyParrots fans, your team has fallen.
Yeah, not exactly the series we expected to see. We did expect 3 maps, but we kind of thought it would go the other way around, maybe, given the history for PartyParrots on Split, specifically against Fish123, no less. But they just never really got started on that second map. Kind of a disappointing performance from them. They had an opportunity to take this 2-0. I'm sure they were feeling great going into that second map. Like, man, we won Haven. This was a map that we knew we were going to have a hard time on. And then they get on the split and like, this is comfort territory. This is where we feel at home. And then they just struggled. They couldn't manage to put it together at all.
Yeah, now they unfortunately have to watch from the sidelines. But I'm going to be looking at the analysts, Mitch and Tom, as they now start to join us. What happened? What went wrong? Tom, talk to me about it.
See, I was told by James yesterday that I only get 2 of these in the 3rd strike I'm out, but at this point he's not even here, so holy shit, Scream, what just happened? Like, he went from being like a decent player, like he was playing pretty well, to, okay guys, just leave it to me, I'm just going to run around and kill everyone. Like, have we seen anyone have a performance that good so far this tournament, guys?
Scream. Only Scream.
That's what we wanted this whole time. That's what we've been asking for, was Scream to show up and just start dominating them. The confidence that we knew he should have as one of the best aimers in the world. And I'm glad to finally see it come through.
Bye, casters. We're zoning you out again.
Hold on.
We're zoning you out.
Hold on. No! Let me see if I can push him out. No, I'm pushing the wrong way. Go. I'm still here. All right, just 3 minutes. Go ahead. Stop the camera right there.
Bye. See you later. You
Bye,
don't
guys.
control the camera. Even I don't control the camera. It's the man in the ear. And maybe I'm not even wearing an E-piece. Maybe I'm just insane. But yeah, I find that one the toughest probably to break down of all of the maps, because although I think there was a lot of good stuff coming out from Fish in terms of like, sure, the individual skill from Scream, it comes down to the fact that they were able to almost play with their food on that attacking side, which was something we didn't really see. Like the defense on Ascent previously versus G2 was fantastic from PartyParrots, but they almost were made to look like amateurs a lot of the time in these clutch situations, these big rounds where they really should have been taking them. It just seemed to be that Fish were just too much.
Yeah, we actually talked a lot about the middle control, right? And this is something that we didn't expect to see playing a huge role. And I suppose in a way it didn't when it came down to actually taking any of the sites. The vast majority, I can count on one fist, not even just one hand, just one fist. How many times Fish used mid to split into a site? Not that many. The vast majority of these rounds were just them coming in, taking a bit of slow approach. They got a little bit of control up towards B, up towards A. Then they went into middle. Scream, I think it was either Cryptics or Eccles, would consistently be going through. They'd look for some duels. That's all they were doing. They were looking for someone to kill, like we said. That's where you go if you're looking for a fight to give your team the advantage, not necessarily to gain any super important map control a lot of the time. And they were going in there. They were never being punished. There was never an operator waiting for them like you'd see again and again from most other teams. There was never a player that was maybe getting up aggressive around the arch to hold one side, force a 1v1, and take a player down. It was a very passive approach by PartyParrots. And honestly, I can't blame them after the first 5 or 6 rounds of Scream just being a beast. I think you probably start to say, let's not push this guy. Let him come to us. Maybe try set a trap, but you just couldn't stop him. And really, this was like watching him back in the day when you'd go on Scream's stream and he'd just be sat there on a DM server running around, headshotting everyone. It felt just the same, just I couldn't see his face while he did it.
Well, that was the thing about Scream, is it wasn't even a DM server. He would make it his DM server. Like, he would be doing this in majors, in big tournaments, and just make people look silly with how good that he was. And it really was ridiculous. I think one thing I do really want to give credit for, though, was their ability to late round fake. I think we saw so many times where there would be a couple of players pushing in one direction, normally still doing some damage, but then there were some really sick clutches. Like, I remember there was one coming out at 2v3 where Link